stream. And it looks like we are live. There's always that lag, so it's never like I know that we're actually on. I see that it says, it's up to 12 seconds, 16 seconds. I don't see anybody. Now I see everything. Here it is, 25 seconds later. So we are live. Very glad that everyone has joined us. There's nobody that said anything in the super chat. Let me say hello real quick. My internet is really slow, so maybe if y'all can't, if I go out for some reason, do me a favor and just continue the podcast. I don't know why my internet goes out, but it does. So let me say hello in the chat. Sometimes nobody can say anything. What does it say? What happened? I can't see what that says. Kelby Cox says, what happened to the perm? Oh, I got the perm. I just took a shower and I slicked it back. Jennifer says, LOL, you took my line. Howdy, y'all. Yes. Bill H is in the house. Jim, Jennifer, thank you very much for joining us. Bill H is in the house too. All right. So we are ready to rock and roll. Thank you very much for joining us. Today, we are going to be talking with Kris Wheeler. If you don't know, he was on our show back in September 2nd of 2020 on episode 31. So was that our first year, or was 2019 our first year of doing this? I don't remember, but we've already have over 25,000 downloads on our show, which you can go to paratalk.org, or you can just see us here, our pretty faces on ClearProp TV. And of course, just search for PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast. We got a bunch of other people that jumped on. So Daniel Roosh, welcome. Goldie Thiel, I think I said that right. Travis D is in the house also. Thank you very much for joining us. And I think I even said hello to Kelby Cox, right? I hope I did. Anyway, welcome everybody. My name is Sean Symons, PPG Grandpa. You can always find me at iflyparamotors.com. Let's introduce the panel real quick. We got Paramom USA, our very own Linda Anderson. Welcome, Linda. How you doing, girl?
Hi, good. I love my Mondays. Just hang with everybody. Welcome, welcome.
And, glad you made it.
Me too. Thank you, Kris, for joining us. And Mr. Jim, we're going to have an awesome evening. So anybody in the chat, you got any questions, just throw it out there, because we're here for you and everything. And thank you so much for joining us tonight. It's going to be a great show. We're going to have a really good evening tonight with y'all. So thank you. I forgot my pom-poms.
What?
I know.
Who are you?
Oh. I never forget anything, so I don't know what happened.
It's all right. Just flip your hair up and down. That'll be your pom-poms, right? There you go. There you go. Well, thank you very much, Miss Linda, for joining us. If you want to be on our shows, just get up with Linda Anderson. If you go to paramomusa.com, it does forward over to her Facebook page. Just PM her and say, yo, I want to be on PPG Grandpa's Paramotor Podcast, y'all.
PM me, yo.
Okay. Yo. All right. Thanks, Linda, for being on the show. We also got Jim from Canada, CarePPG or carepg.com. He's our maple syrup money guy. What's up, Jim? Glad you can make it, buddy.
Things are going good. It's nice to be here. Just made it by the skin of my teeth.
You did. I'm so glad that you did. If anybody has any questions for Kris later on in the show, please say hi to Jim in the chat and direct your questions to him. That way he can let us know that you guys are asking questions, because I can't see in this particular view. I got to leave and come back, and it's horrible. But thank you very much, Jim, for joining us. And we'll talk more about your maple syrup money and your care PG and your care PP and your care PPG.
Right on.
We'll get there. Just so many .coms. But it's not about you. It's not about Linda. Not about me. Tonight it's all about my dog is choking. Kris Wheeler, welcome to the show, buddy. It's been a while since we chatted on the podcast, man.
Yeah, Sean, it's good to be back.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It looks like you got some sun. You've been flying for a while, it looks like.
Yeah, we've had a crazy spring. We literally have gone more than 30 days in a row with no flying. So last 2 nights here, we've been able to fly. So I've been taking full advantage of it. So yeah, it's nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, for those of you out there that don't know Chris, if you can tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, your company, and how you jumped into paramotoring, it'd be great to get people to remember all that. If you don't, go back to episode 31 and listen to that whole thing. It's great. Then come back to this one.
So I got into paramotoring through videos, like most people, just, I saw a video of it and I was like, oh, I got to do that. I started off hang gliding and then I went into just general aviation, my PPL, and now paramotors, and now I'm actually starting free flight as well. So I'm hopping back and forth between here and Columbia and doing some free flight lessons and tandem lessons and things like that. So just to be a better pilot, that's kind of my thing. I guess that's about it.
Well, tell us a little bit about your company.
Which one? So I have a few. Software is generally how I pay the bills and put bread on the table. So I have a software company and also do some systems management, computer, IT, nerdy stuff. I partnered up with Mark George at Paramotor USA. So, which we import and retail paramotor things, actually pretty much anything and everything you need as far as paramotor gear goes. So getting ready to do a few things in Colombia as well as far as manufacturing. I'm opening the manufacturing company there. Experimenting in the restaurant world. I might be opening some restaurants there, and some exciting news. I'm actually starting to do tours there as well. So, I mean, this is epic. This is like, we're talking flying over the Caribbean, over national parks that the rest of even the citizens can't go in, and we have the rights to fly over it. So we've already locked down a resort that's going to be housing everybody while we're there. So the idea is this: you just show up at the airport with your wing. You don't even need to bring clothes. You don't need to bring toiletries. You just show up with your wing. Somebody is hired for you and they will take care of all your toiletries, all your clothes. You'll have a fresh new pair of clothes every single day. And then when you're ready to go back home, you just take the clothes that you came in on and your wing, and that's it. So Ruben is who I'm doing this with. Ruben, this has been Ruben's dream for over 20 years. And those of you guys that don't know Ruben Fly is literally the grandfather of paragliding in South America. He does tours in Brazil and Costa Rica and Colombia and everywhere. And he's based out of Colombia, and he does a lot of free flight and a lot of motor. People come from all over the world to learn how to fly from Ruben. So you name the paraglider, and they've, the paraglider acrobat guy, or, somebody famous in that paragliding world, and they probably know Ruben or probably have gotten lessons from Ruben at some point. So Ruben and I have kind of hooked up to try to get the tours going. And so I'll be heading out there. I think this week, I'll be heading out there again to go meet with Ruben and just kind of get some footage of where everybody's going to be flying from and that kind of thing. So that's my latest exciting venture, is kind of, make it a very inexpensive, but very well valued tour of Colombia, right? So if you want to do free flight, we're going to be doing it from several different locations. Colombia is like Brazil, it's a mecca for free flight paragliding. But if you just want to do motor, then we all meet at Cartagena. And Cartagena is right on the Caribbean, right on the ocean. And there's a bunch of national parks right there, crystal clear beaches. And so basically we'll just be flying out of Cartagena on different excursions throughout the day. And it's one of those places where, you can fly throughout the entire day. So you're going to get a good, 8 hours at least of flying. You're going to be landing several times to refuel and set. So it's going to be kind of kind of an awesome adventure if you're up for it. So I'm hoping that people will choose
Wow.
to do both free flight and motor, even if you've never gone free flight before. I think it's definitely something you should try. And that's the place to do it, because you have such awesome people around you that can support you, or tandem rides or anything like that. So now I'm just trying to get it to a cost that's very reasonable, and try to put some people in Colombia, put them to work, as far as concierge and things like that go. So yeah.
That is so incredibly awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, wow, to be able, see, that's one of the things that I've always had an issue with, is leaving the United States, because it's like, how do I travel? Once I get there, how do I go there? Where are the places to fly? I mean, I don't know these things, because, I mean, I know that I can go anywhere in the United States. I can pull over on the shoulder and go fly if I want to, as long as I'm in the right airspace.
Yeah.
But going to Colombia, that sounds really awesome. So I assume that we'd bring our wing and take a flight there, land, and then you take care of everything until we return back home.
You will have a concierge that's assigned to you, right?
Okay.
That person is responsible for everything you need. You need a pack of cigarettes, they go to the market and they get it. You need a shaver, you need toothpaste, you need underwear, you need t-shirts or whatever. They're going to have your clothes already set out for you, all your toiletries and everything. But if you need anything else, they're going to go to the market for you. So all you need to do is just focus on catching up some sun, just the awesome views, flying around if you want, that kind of thing. So you don't have to worry about any of the worldly necessities. You just kind of can just enjoy your time. And that way it gives that person a job, which is extremely needed in that part of the world. But it also allows you to be freed up and not have to worry about the necessities of travel. Like, is my bag going to show up? Yada, yada, yada. You're just carrying your wing, just carry it on board with you. And when you get off the plane, we're ready to fly.
That is awesome. Do we have any questions, Jim, or anything in the chat?
Yeah, there's questions in the chat, but I've got questions about this subject first.
Go for it, Jim. Go for
Okay,
it, Jim.
so is this going to be like all year round, or is it seasonal?
No, it's all year round because it's on the equator. So the seasons really don't matter. Medellin is probably the farthest you'll go away from the equator, and that city is named the City of Perpetual Spring. Not joking, it's always in the mid 70s there all year round. Doesn't matter what time. So yeah, and it's up in the mountains. It's beautiful.
What about like a rainy season?
So the rainy season is there, but it's even during the non-rainy seasons, you're still going to get rain every day, or just about every day. But it only lasts for like a half an hour to an hour, and then it's dried up. So yeah, even in the dry season, it's raining because it's jungle. So it's it's raining.
That was really awesome.
Yeah.
Real quick, is there like a certain amount of time that we can go there, or can we go there for like a week, 2 weeks, a month? I mean, it's up to us how long we want to stay there. Is that correct?
No, I mean, it's really up to Ruben and the staff.
Okay.
I'm still trying to finalize all the details. We just finalized the resort and getting permission to use the resort. We also, and when I say the resort, we're actually taking over it, right? It's a very small resort, but we want it very exclusive to where it's just paramotor pilots and that's it. None of the public is there. We also got use of a house that's in the middle of the ocean. Like you got to take a boat to the house. It's far out, but the tides are so, or the water is so low that it's you'd have to see it. Once you see it, you'll understand. And that's kind of just a rest area. It's not where we'll sleep or anything, but we got use of that as well. So we could fly to this little private island, have a good time, and then fly back type of thing. So we're just trying to figure out the logistics as far as space and that kind of thing, and how many people we can actually accommodate. So that's where it gets a little bit expensive for us, because if we have 4 people coming in, that means we've got to have 6 full complete gear ready to go, right? So because something's bound to happen, somebody's going to butt land or something, bend a frame or whatever. So we've got to have, for every 4 people, we've got to have an extra 2 units ready to go, just in case somebody takes out something. So So we're still trying to get the logistics of it and how many days. We think it's going to be somewhere between 4 and 6 days. So,
Oh, that's going to be really cool. That is
Yeah.
really awesome.
yeah.
So there was a question about this particular thing. Is free flight experience required?
No. So the good thing is people actually go to this guy just to get trained. Every single instructor in Colombia has probably been trained by Ruben at some point, right? He's literally like, it's hard to explain, but Colombia and Brazil and that whole area is kind of like a cartel of paragliders, right? So everybody knows everybody works with everybody. So, and your instructors and your trainers are so good there. I mean, they're the best, really. They're so good that you will be evaluated, and you can just like, look, it's at your pace. If you want to learn how to paraglide, great. If you don't even want to touch a paraglider, you just want to be motoring, great, stay in Cartagena. If you want to learn paragliding too, we'll have flights between Cartagena and Medellin, so you can go and experience free flight as well. It's a great place to learn free flight because the area is extremely vast. The thermals that come up are not violent. They're very mild just because of the area, and they know where they are. So there's always a place they'll tell you, okay, if you go here, you're definitely going to get a thermal. And you can see as you stand on the hill and watch everybody fly that they go from thermal to thermal, and they're known where they are. So it's a great place to learn, but if free flight's not your thing and you just want to motor, then that's up to you too. So we're still working out all the logistics and what we're going to offer, but it's going to be something around there. If anybody has suggestions, we're totally up for it too. So,
is there a website that we can check out and find out about this stuff?
Nope, not yet. We're probably still 5 or 6 months away from allowing people to come in and actually do this. There's a lot of setup that needs to be done still. So.
Awesome. Are you gonna have like a fly-in over there once a year that people just come all over and like Bad Apples is coming up?
So the beach that we have, so we've got an entire beach, and the beach is very, very long. When I say long, I mean from where the foliage stops to where the ocean starts is extremely long. It's almost like San Luis Beach in Galveston, if anybody's been down there, where Fabrizio trains, right? It's like extremely long and wide beach. We could have a fly in there. I don't know if you would get the draw though, because I don't know how many people would go overseas just for a fly in versus having the experience by themselves. You know what I mean? So when you're a small group, it's more like a vacation. A fly-in's kind of stressful, because there's just so many pilots in the air, and it's great for, chatter and talking and stuff like that. But fly-ins are never great for flying because it's like a beehive, at least that's what I think anyway. So speaking of beehives, the biggest one in the country is coming up, next weekend, the weekend following, something like that.
Bad Apples?
Yeah.
Are you going to go to Bad Apples? Matter of fact, Bill H asked, are you going to go to Bad Apples?
Yeah, I'll be there.
Sweet. There you go, Bill H.
We got another question too. What socks do you have on?
Let's see. I don't know if I can reach my leg up. So they're orange and diamonds or triangles.
Okay.
Who asked that, Jim?
That was asked by Mr. Eric, PPG leader.
I wonder if there's a something behind that we don't know about.
Why do you have socks? All different types of socks, Chris.
I don't know. I mean, it kind of started off where I got a few, silly pairs of socks, and then I just kind of liked them, and I took pictures of them. And I noticed that everybody else is taking pictures of their shoes when they fly. And I'm like, I'm going to just take pictures of socks. And so I started posting them, and then it just became my thing. And now it's like I have, hundreds of pairs of these crazy socks, and I don't know. Every time I fly, I just make sure that I have a pair of socks on I've never taken a picture of, so I could just post it. So okay. I don't know. It kind of naturally came. I'm not sure. It wasn't planned.
Interesting. Travis D in the chat asked everybody in the chat, in case you didn't read it. He said, "Who's all going to Bad Apples?" So if you're going to Bad Apples, make sure you say, "Yes, I'm going to Bad Apples" in the chat. I'm going. Chris is going. Jim's not going. Linda, are you going to? No, Linda's not going. So the dog is joking and the grandpa's going so far right here. So let us know if you're going to be going to Bad Apples. I really can't wait. How many days is it? It's like a week and some change, right? I mean, it's just right around the corner. Or is it 2 weeks and change?
I don't know. I think it's like the 12th through 16th or something right around there. It's I don't think it's this weekend. I think it's the next one.
Yeah.
Okay, so just shy of 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. Any other questions that I missed in the chat, Mr. Jim?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, because I'm scrolling through and I'm looking too. It's like, where's Will Fly? Will Fly said he won't be able to make it. I think he's out flying or having a good time. Thumbs up. Thank you very much, Eric, for thumbs up. Kelby Cox, thumbs up. Mark McElroy from Paralife PPG. The other PPG, the other Nick. John Wayne, he helped support the show. Jen C is in the chat too. Nick Griffith is in the chat. So thank you very much for joining us. If you have any questions for My Dog Is Joking, Kris Wheeler, make sure you say something in the chat. Tag Jim so he can see that you've asked a question. But I'm really impressed. I think this is pretty cool. I mean, I want to go. I mean, I want to leave the United States, go someplace and fly. That sounds tremendous. And you said that's what, 6 months, 5-6 months away from actually.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody wants to go now, I'll take you. It's not going to cost you anything. Just pay for your flight and then just pay for somebody while you're there. What I mean by pay for somebody is take a few $100s with you just so you can provide somebody some work while they're there, right? My whole reason for this is twofold. One is that I really love putting families to work. And this is one of those areas where like the people have worked so hard to clean up their country, and it's so hard to provide a better atmosphere for a tourist, right? Because for, decades, it was not a place you would want to go. And so now it's so clean and so safe and so wonderful, but their economy is horrible. And then you had Venezuela, which crashed, right? And so a lot of the Venezuelans are coming in now, which puts another big stress on their economy. So if somebody wants to go, I'd be happy to take you. Just it's the cost of the plane trip is less than $500 round trip from Dallas or Miami. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cheaper to fly to Colombia than it is to LA half the time. Right. It's a very cheap flight. It's a long flight. It's about 5 hours, 6 hours from Miami or Dallas or Houston, wherever you're popping out of. I think they fly. Yeah, it comes out of Atlanta, Miami, Dallas, and Houston is the only places that I don't know if you can catch a flight from LA there. But anyway, yeah, it's less than $500 as long as you have like 2 weeks notice. It's like a 5 to 6 hour flight. Once you're there, you're just like life just slows down and you're just totally happy. So what you do is I'll have a person and just pay him a few $100s, right? Average salary there for a month is $375 a month, right? So give somebody a couple $100, for 5 or 6 days just to like buy stuff for you. And that guy's super happy, right? And they'll taxi you around, they'll take you wherever you go, but I'll be your concierge if you just want to go with me. So, and I'll be happy to show you and meet everybody. You'll meet pilots that the skill level is so high, you're just like amazed. But I'll take you to all the flying sites and we'll just have a great time. So wow. Once we start doing this for like tours though, it'll kind of be a bit more organized than what it is now. So I just want to get people's brains thinking about this as far as a holiday goes. So if you have a long weekend, 4 or 5 day weekend, it's a great holiday. It's a great place to fly and you'll never forget it. That's for sure.
That is so awesome. Nick Griffith donated $5, said everyone pray for Sutherland.
Apparently James might have had an accident.
Oh,
really? I didn't hear about that.
It just said that James had an accident.
James is, I think, the Charlie Soap guy, isn't he?
Yeah.
Isn't that James Sutherland?
I think so.
Yeah.
But
Oh, he's a great guy.
I've
He's a
been
great guy.
known to be wrong, and then I realize I'm right. No, Nick, if you can text me and let me know what's going on. I didn't know anything about that. That's awful. Yeah. And thank you, Nick. $5. That's getting me close to be able to go to, where's this? Brazil? Where am I going?
Columbia.
Colombia.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it a Clear Prop TV trip?
We
There you
could
go.
do that. You
There
know,
you
if
go.
it's $500 and $200 for the dude, all you'd bring is yourself and your wing. That's $700.
Yeah,
person.
your nightly stay is probably $40, but believe me, with that $40, you're staying in a very, very nice place. So yeah.
So altogether, $1,000 would be $500 to fly there,
Mhm.
$200 for the guy, couple $100 to stay there,
Yeah.
buy your trinkets and stuff, and it's like $1,000 to go on a trip. This sounds amazing. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
it really
cheaper.
is.
It sounds
Yeah.
like it's cheaper to do this than it is to go on cruises. And I love going on cruises.
I have never been on a cruise, but I heard you can't fly from the boat, so I'd rather do this.
Oh, I saw in the chat, it says, yes, Mr. Soap, no detail yet. Think it's a broken leg. Oh, no.
Oh, bummer.
No, that's not good. I hate hearing people, getting hurt in this field.
That's something that is kind of something that really bothers me about the paramotoring community, is that everybody is hyper safe. Hyper safe doesn't make for good pilots. This has nothing to do with James Sutherland. I know that guy's a great pilot, great guy too. I think he's on a trike now too. In fact, I think he got a brand new trike fairly recently.
Yeah, we just had him on the show not too long ago. So that's
but
so sad.
what I've seen in this community is that people get into a B wing and then they don't graduate from that, and they stay in their B wing and they stay in their lane. And I think that's okay for a time, but I don't think that's okay long term, because if you're not continuing to develop your skills in this, there's going to be a time when you need those skills and you're not going to have it, right?
So when you're saying this, you're saying it's okay to jump to a B wing, but continue to fly. Don't take like 3 months off and then try your B wing again. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying that too few people go out of the B wing and start getting into a little more advanced wings. And immediately when I say that, people think, oh, acro. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about moving your skill level up and up and up, continuing to move your skill level up and up. People get comfortable in these flying conditions where everything's stable, only fly B wings. This is all we do, and they don't develop their skills, right? I've learned how to launch, I've learned how to land, I'm good, and I'm just going to cruise, right? And it's that kind of mindset, I think, is the most dangerous, because if you're not continuing to improve, you're going to need it at some time, those skills that you don't have, because there's always going to be something that comes up. Does that make sense, Sir Sean?
Yeah, taking SIV courses and continue to learn, and going back to your instructor and learning more and more, getting more advanced as far as learning, not really jumping from A to B and C, but just learning and getting more skill out of yourself, right?
Yeah, and I'm not going to be popular when I say this, but I'm not a big fan of SIV being your skill level training, right?
What would you
I think
consider?
SIV is great. I think everybody needs to take an SIV course, but I wouldn't consider that being your skill training.
Okay.
No, that's your oh crap, something happened training, right? That's all that is. Really, it's like, it's okay if I get into a crazy incident and I just happen to have enough altitude, this is something that I'm going to learn, right? And most people go to SIV training and they learn stuff like SATs or something. They're not, or stalls, you know what I mean? They're not, I think SIV training is a bit hyped considering what it is, right? I think I think that it's a great idea. I think everybody should do SIV training, but I don't think it's in lieu of the pilot 2.0. Your instructor or going to another instructor, right? And just saying, look, I've have 150 hours. I have, how many ever hours you have, and just saying, bring me to that next level. That right there is going to do so much more for you than an SIV. Because most people that I see taking SIVs, they're going to do a SAT once in their life. They're going to do it in the SIV, but they're not going to do it again. Or they're going to do full stalls in the SIV, but they're never going to do it again. Great, you learned that, but it's not something that's learned in the brain because you don't practice. You don't do this time and time again. So when I'm talking about increasing the skill level, I'm talking about pilot 2.0, not once every 5 years I do this SIV course. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I try to do an SIV every year, and every time I change wings or get a new wing, I try to go to an SIV just so I know the dynamics of my wing and what it can do and what it can't do, which is interesting because when my first one, I went to on the Roadster 3, I did all sorts of different things. I understood the wing. When I went there with my Gin Vantage and did the same thing, it acted totally different. I mean, completely different. Thank God I was on an SIV because it scared the crap out of me, and then, a different wing, you do different things. They're all 28 meters, 28 meter wings, and they all perform differently. And I'm really glad that I've gone to these different SIV courses. Not pretty much. I mean, I don't do SATs. I don't do barrel rolls and stuff like that. To me, the SIV course is strictly understanding what the wing's going to do in case there's an incident. And if it does collapse, all right, do I have enough altitude to try to open it up, or do I just throw a reserve? And also too, I threw a reserve at an SIV course just so I could feel what it feels like to come down on a reserve. Yeah. So, I mean, to me personally, an SIV is continuing to up my game every year. And I don't go there to just do acro. So I do like what you're saying though, as far as SIV courses. Don't go to an SIV just to do wing overs or just to do a SAT. Go there to understand your wing. And then, of course, like you said, go to other instructors or go back to your instructors and say, bring me to the next level. I've already done 100 hours or 200 hours. So there's many different ways of upping your game. I totally agree. People in the chat, what do you think? What would you do to help up your game? Let us know in the chat, and Jim, take note and see if there's anything that we want to talk about as far as the people in the chat talking about how to up their game. But dude, upping your game is definitely the way to go. What have you done? Now, you've been doing this for 3 years?
I'm at 2.5. I'll be 3 come December.
Okay.
I recently started tandem, right? And I've been, and so now I'm actually just in the middle of testing out a lot more wings. So I just picked up a Warp, picked it up fairly cheap because the Warp 2 is coming out. So and I Santa Croce just sent me a Carve to check out too. So I've been flying that a bit. Holy crap! Awesome wing, but. I don't know where Jen is going, so I don't know if there's a Carve 2 coming out, but let me tell you, I know now why that wing is so popular and so good.
Can you tell us a little bit about it? I mean, I know that you test a lot of wings. You are very knowledgeable. Guys, if you want to know what a wing feels like or what it does, get up with Kris Wheeler, My Dog Is Choking, PM, and ask him. He probably has either owned it or flown it.
Well, that, and I study like all of the manufacturing parts of a wing before I fly it too. So Jen there's some good things I like about Jen. Jen typically uses a thicker material than other wing manufacturers, especially on the underside of the wing. Typically what you see is you'll see a Porcher fabric, like a Porcher 31 or something like that on the upper, but then you'll see a Porcher 27 on the bottom. Jen doesn't do this. They typically stick with a thicker bottom as well as top.
Real quick,
Okay.
Portrait. Can you tell us about that Portrait thing real quick?
Okay, so Porcher is a manufacturer of ripstop fabric, right? So there's Domenico, and then there's Porcher. Porcher is a French company. More Porcher is used than Domenico. Domenico is out of South Korea, just so you know. There's also a new one coming out of China. If anybody's tested out those Da Vinci wings, right? Da Vinci now uses the ripstop that's coming out of there's some coming out of China and there's some coming out of South Korea that's not Domenico. And Da Vinci is really the only wing that's been trying out these fabrics. So I'm very interested long-term what Da Vinci does, because they're only new coming out to the paramotor world and people are starting to get onto them. But anyway, sorry to get sidetracked. Gen makes a thicker wing, but their design is so good that, usually a heavier, thicker wing is going to be harder to get up over your head. Gen has a very good way of making it so the launches are very easy, right? The Falcon, I don't know if you've ever flown that wing, right? So the Pegasus, in my opinion, is a tough wing to launch, right? Out of all of their wings, I think the Pegasus, which is their air wing, is the hardest. The Vantage comes up fairly easy. The Falcon comes up like really, really smooth. The Carve is almost as easy to launch as that Falcon is. And it's a heavier wing because they're using thicker fabrics, but the response on that wing is amazing. It's literally on rails. So definitely not a beginner wing. This thing will get you in trouble quick if you're not used to it, because you can get upside down in a flash. But it'll do exactly what you want it to do. And when people say it's on rails, like, I've never felt a wing more on rails than a Gen Carve. It'll go exactly where you want it to in a flash. It is a great wing. So
now I know that you've flown many different types of wings, and I'm extremely jelly because I would love to fly more wings than I've flown so far. I do love flying different wings, by the way. Hopefully over in Bad Apples I'll be able to fly a couple different ones also. But I know there's a huge difference between a low B and a high B, and jumping from a B wing to a C wing, even if you're at the high B wing going to a C wing, what are some of the things that people will have to realize when they jump from B wing to a C wing?
Before jumping out of a B wing, make sure you understand energy management. It's the most important thing you possibly can learn is energy management. It is the one thing that will get you in trouble, right? Because a B wing is very difficult to do a wing over on. When I say difficult, it takes a lot of strength. You either got to rock back and forth a few times, or you got to do a power over, or you got to do something. And a wing over is typically that one maneuver that everybody wants to play around with when they have a wing, right? They just kind of, because you want to feel the energy. The difference of energy in a C wing versus a B wing is dramatic. The other thing is that if you go hands up and you let go of your toggles on a B wing, it's going to self-right very quickly. A C wing may never self-right. It may actually stay in that spiral. So that's energy management is the one thing you really need to know. So if you're turning left, you got to make sure you're holding right at all times, because you may need to forcefully pull right because you've got to get out of a turn, and the wing's not letting you out of the turn as fast as you think you need to go. So
I love going from a low B to a high B. I can definitely feel the difference. I haven't flown a C wing. I have no desire to fly a C wing. They seem to be interesting and fun, but I really enjoy just going up and looking around and doing cross countries. Are C wings really good for cross countries, or what are the reasons why someone would want to jump from B wing to a C wing? And Jim, right after this, I'll go to you to talk about the chat. So going from a B wing to a C wing.
Okay, so the difference is a Volkswagen bus versus a Volkswagen Golf, right? Mm-hmm. You're going to have less gas. You're going to have better gas mileage on a C wing. If you're weighted the same, you're going to have better gas mileage on a C wing than you are on a B wing, right? Okay. Because they're typically more efficient and faster. B wings are horribly inefficient. A wings are the worst, right? So as you start getting into more advanced wing, you also get more efficiency as well. I would Sean, I would press you to get into a C wing, or at least start putting some hours on C wings and start understanding. Because once you get into that type of wing, you're moving to pilot 2.0, which is, I think, is a safer place to be. I feel way more comfortable and safe not on a B wing, right? Because a
Really?
B wing, oh yeah, because I don't know how to explain it, but typically it makes me focus on piloting, whereas a B wing, it's hands up and I'm taking pictures or whatever. But the chances of me running into a radio tower or cell phone tower are much greater on a B wing, just because you don't have to think about doing anything, right? You're not piloting necessarily on a B wing. You're just kind of floating around.
So why would someone want to jump from a B wing to a C wing then? I mean, cross country, more efficient. I understand that.
Yeah.
But
It's a lot funner, a lot funner.
really?
Oh gosh, I mean, when you want to drive around the Walmart parking lot, you would much rather be in a VW Golf than a VW bus, right?
Okay.
It's a lot funner. It's just a much funner wing. Cross country, if you're feeling like you're wanting to do a cross country, a B wing's certainly not the one to do it on. Because you just can't go fast enough, right? They're very inefficient, or you get
Okay.
paraparked. If you're in heavy winds, it's better to be on a higher wing than it is on a lower wing, because you're just going to get parked up in the sky.
Maybe my thought patterns were not correct, and going to a C might be good. I've always heard, don't advance too quickly through your wings. It's like if you get a low wing, do everything that you can on it. When you can't do anything else on it, then move up a little bit and go to that high beam, which is what I did. I went from the Roadster 3 to the Gen Vantage, which was a huge jump from a low B to a high B.
Yeah.
And I could really tell, you put your hands up, it'll start to oscillate and start doing some weird stuff. You have to have, a lot of active piloting, even though it's a high B wing. So a C wing, I thought, wow, I'd have to always be up here and always be.
No. It makes you a better pilot because, like, I'll take a warp on a gusty day, right? And a warp is a dicey wing, right? It's a very efficient XC wing, though. It on that kind of a wing, you're kind of holding it from going back and forth this way, right? Going up in front of you versus trying to overshoot you. So you're active piloting the brakes just to keep it up from you. But once you're on that wing, you don't even think about oscillations anymore, because you automatically, if you're starting to go into one, you just fix it right away, right? So if you're still, I think one of the good reasons to get into another wing as well is just because you feel the wing more. A B wing is very hard to feel, especially because you got a motor on your back and you're in this giant cage. You don't really fly your wing. Your wing is flying you. When you sit in a sports car and you feel the steering wheel and it's nice and tight, right? And you take a turn and it's just the glory of that car, and being able to feel the car is so much more than driving a minivan where you can't really feel. Does it make sense? Right?
Yeah, it does.
There is so much more to the wing and to being able to feel and do. It makes you a better pilot. It really does. Don't fear going into a more advanced wing. Don't fear it at all. All you've got to do is say, look, if my energy management's not there for today, then I'm not going to take deep turns. That's it, right? Just don't take deep turns. Otherwise you're fine. The flare authority on a more advanced wing is way greater than on a lower wing, right? I always felt that B wings were the hardest to land. Always thought that.
Really? I'd land like a butterfly on my B wing. All my wings, I land like a butterfly.
Try a more advanced wing. You'll find that the flare authority is a lot more. You can actually hold level a lot longer than you can on a B wing. You just don't have as much flare on a B wing as you do, because you don't have enough speed. You don't have enough velocity. There's so much, I would definitely say to the community, push yourself, don't go crazy out of your comfort zone, but don't sit in your comfort zone. You're not learning to pilot anything while you're sitting in a comfort zone,
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Jim, what you got on the super chat? Anything going on?
Well, Bill H, he mentioned that he was thinking about going to Lone Star Paramotor for doing their class, the 2.0.
Mhm.
And
Nice. So is there an actual class that's Pilot 2.0, or are you just saying up your game, Chris?
I know that Ron at Lone Star can definitely bring you to 2.0, right? I don't know of a class that's 2.0, but I know a lot of instructors that can teach you 2.0. Santa Croce can teach you 2.0. Busy guy though, I'm not sure how much.
So I mean,
how much
I'm sorry.
knowledge.
Is that an actual term, Pilot 2.0, or is that just something that
No,
you're
that's
saying?
just
Okay.
I'm like, going to the next
Up your
level.
game.
Yeah,
Okay,
up
okay.
in your game.
Gotcha.
Ron Turan can definitely bring you up to that level. Carson Rodnizer in Florida can definitely bring you up to that level.
They
In
should
fact,
probably make a class called Pilot 2.0. That would be
yeah,
pretty cool.
I agree.
And you coined it, so we heard it here first.
In fact, if I was going to go today and I would say, okay, I've got to learn 2.0, I would probably choose Max Acro in California. I would go see Max and say, Max, look, I got to go 2.0 and just have. And he runs a school called Max Acro, and they do a lot of SAV courses and Acro courses and stuff like that. But I'm not saying you need to learn Acro. That's not what I'm saying at all. Just say I got to go to the next level, and Max would definitely be able to take you there.
So real quick, and sorry, Jim, I'll get to you in just a second. What do you feel is like the actual thing that you'd be doing for the 2.0, like better kiting, better launches, better landings, spot landings? I mean, what do you think besides the SIV courses and what you do in SIV, what would you think that would be the best thing to do?
It depends on it depends on where you are and what you want to learn, right?
Right.
Everybody's road is different here, right? Everybody's comfort zone is going to be different, right? My risk reward is way different than a lot of people's risk reward. It's not that mine is better or worse than yours. It's just different. Yours is going to be where you're at your time and where you want to move to, right? I want to be able to do really, really, really good tandems. There's a few really good tandem pilots out there. And so that's what I'm doing right at the moment is I'm learning how to become a really, really good tandem pilot, right? Because I want to share this adventure with those people that want to learn, you know what I mean? Even if it's just a single flight to where it introduces you to what piloting is. I took a tandem flight when I was in Medellin last time. With a pilot that was so incredibly good. I thought I was really good at wingovers, right? Because I can do full wingovers, no problem. He showed me some very minute things about timing and pulling and timing that I would have never learned if he wasn't sitting behind me, also grabbing that brake line and pulling it with me. So for me, it's just the little tiny stuff that makes me a better pilot, how to care for that passenger in front of you, how to, if it's for you, if it's landing, if it's taking off, somebody showed me how to do power launches, and now I won't launch without a power launch. It's like my natural go-to. And I find it's a lot easier to launch because I'm just a lazy guy who's kind of old and I don't want to run very far.
I must be doing that too, because I even in nil winds, 10 steps, maybe 12.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much. I mean, so how do you do I'm sorry, Jim, but how do you do your power launches?
So I lean forward at an angle so that the wind does not hit the wing, right? I take 2 steps back. I don't step all the way back to the wing, but I take a couple steps back, go full throttle. I let it off. And as soon as I feel that it's at 60%, that's when I put my hips up and start running. So I start running with 60% push. And then as soon as I let go of the A's, it's back on the power.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so it's all timing, and then just my whole thought is the sooner I lean back, the sooner I'm in the air. So because when you're running, the sooner you can get those shoulders as far back as possible, the sooner you're going to be up in the air. So yeah.
So basically what you're saying is you don't have to go to an SIV course to up your game to be a better pilot. You can go to
Yeah.
the 2.0 by doing things like the power takeoff. So you're not running, half a block to get in the air, to go up, 500 feet, kill your engine and do spot landings to nail in your spot landings. So I understand what you're saying.
But we don't learn in a vacuum.
Right.
It's important to like reach out to different pilots and different instructors to learn your 2.0. But yeah, I think too many people rely on SIVs to learn all their stuff. That's not where you're going to learn the majority of what you need to learn. The majority is going to be from reaching out to other instructors and other pilots, and just stop doing the same flight you're doing every day. Do something different, learn every single time. So
I like that. It's really good. All right, Jim, sorry to keep on talking and asking questions. What do we got going on in the super chat, Jim?
Shannon Brooks was wondering what your favorite, or what some of your favorite wings are, Chris.
At the moment, the Gin Carve is definitely my favorite wing. I really like the Drift Air. I don't like Dudek though. I have an issue with the company, Dudek, the company. I've spent a lot of time in Russia, Ukraine, that area, right? So, and with what's going on, there's no good side to this. And any war, it's always the people that lose. And I freaking hate war. I hate it. But this moral projection of what Dudek has decided to do, right? That what do you call that when you project your morals onto other people? I can't think of the word. They decided not to sell any wings to Russia and all those pilots over there, right? Because they think it's like they're grandstanding against Russia and stuff. You're not hurting Russia. You're only hurting the paramotor community. It's those types of things. And this is not the first time Dudek has done something like this, where they try to grandstand on their morals and just because it's popular at the time. I just, that kind of thing. But gosh, they make really good wings. The Dudek Drift Air is a phenomenal wing. If I could sit down with Peter and just say, Peter Dudek, who owns the company, if I could just say, stop, you're grandstanding, you just focus on wings and not on politics.
Gotcha.
The RPM Flow, holy crap, that's a great wing. The
RPM Flow, what was it? The RPM Flow?
Flow.
Who makes that?
RPM.
Haven't
Flow. Yeah, isn't it RPM?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's it's company out of Australia. I think they're Australia, New Zealand. I'm pretty sure it's Australia.
Okay.
Freeride has always been a great wing, right? Freeride's a standard. I'd like to see them come out with the Freeride 2.0 because it's getting a little long in the tooth, right? That wing's been around for a long time, but that's a great wing if you're weighted right on it. If you're not weighted right on it, it can get dicey real quick. I think those are probably my favorite wings at the moment. So I just picked up I haven't even flown it and I've owned it a couple months. It's called a Game Mark II. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm very excited about flying that one. Because it's a free flight and motor wing. I'm also excited about the F3 from APCO, which I haven't flown yet, but everybody's telling me to fly it. It's a high B. And then they have the F3 Bi, which is made specifically for trike. So I've never flown those two. So yeah, excited to try out those as well.
Okay, we're rolling up at 8 o'clock already. I can't believe we've been talking so long. How long do we have you tonight?
I've got no plans. This is it. There's too much wind outside and the sun is setting now. So okay, I couldn't fly.
So we actually have a lot of people that just jumped on because they went out flying, they landed, now they're on the show or they're on the super chat. Can you tell everyone real quick all the plans that you have for the vacation of a lifetime that we talked about earlier?
Okay, so we'll repeat it.
Okay.
Basically, the idea is to show up at the airport with a wing, fly into Colombia. Somebody will meet you there, and they will have all your clothing and your toiletries and everything for you. Basically, it's just a flying into Caribbean. And then when you leave, you just pack up your wing and you put on the clothes you came with, and there you go. So you no need to bring a suitcase, just bring your wing and fly Columbia. So and it's cheap too. Round trip flights are, $500 or less. So,
So basically, when you get this all taken care of in about 5 or 6 months, we'll be able to go there for a weekend, $500 for the flight, $200 for the porter, $200 for the room. So basically, less than $1,000, you can go on a trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, when we get the whole thing going, we'll make it as a package deal. So presently, if anybody would like to go, I'm heading out this week to go. And then I'm coming back for Bad Apples, and then I'll be heading out after the 20th. So somewhere, mid to late May, I'll be heading out again. So if anybody wants to join me for, just either free flight or motoring there, just let me know. I'd be happy to take you and show you around and get a concierge for you. And it's fairly cheap. So for $1,000, you can fly the Caribbean or whatever. It's awesome. So.
And all we do is show up with our wing. We don't need to bring a motor. We don't even need to bring clothes. You'll have clothes for us and motors and everything, or free flight. And if we don't free fly, you guys are able to teach us to free fly. But if we just want to do motors, you guys have motors. We can go motoring around, right?
Yeah, when you say you guys, it won't be me teaching you to free fly. I'm learning myself. I'm definitely not an instructor in that. So, but yeah. So you choose whether you want to do free flight, motor, or both. But all the equipment's there, ready to go. So we plan on having this as a package deal. So so it's all just
wait.
Yeah.
Are you gonna have like a specific .com website that people can go to? Is this part of your My Dog is Choking? Is this part of Paraswag, or what is this?
It's not part of Paraswag. This is really Reuben Fly. Look up Reuben Fly. If you don't know Reuben Fly, you don't know paragliding. Look up Reuben, and it's really his dream, and I'm just trying to help make his dream come true and give some families some jobs there. So
that's awesome. Thanks for the recap for all the people that have just joined us. This is going to be absolutely amazing. I can't wait to go and check that out. Jim, anything else? I know that we keep on. You got everything already? We already got all the questions answered. We're also doing an audio streaming to Podbean, and we got Dave's joined, Pink Squirrel, and IFV, and a bunch of numbers has joined. So welcome, guys, listening to the live stream.
Hey, there might be a question.
Okay.
Somebody Greg said pound goals. So what are Kris's goals coming up?
What are my goals?
Yeah.
As far as what? As far as flying goes, or what?
Paramotoring, flying.
So I am 51. My goal at this point is to be able to do this as long as my heart keeps ticking, right? But I don't want to sit. I don't want to sit stable. So I've also been learning a bunch of acro lately, but I know that my time is very limited on being able to do what I can, because it's really a young man's sport for that kind of stuff, because you're pulling G's and your heart's just not what it is, and you can't handle as many G's as you get older. And I've started to notice this. So my goal as far as flying goes is just to do this as much as possible. My goal as far as the community goes is really to bring people to another level, to just bring the sport to another level, and just create that Pilot 2.0, or at least try to excite people into becoming Pilot 2.0. As far as Columbia goes, my heart is to provide people jobs there, right? So it's why I'm opening up manufacturing there and that kind of thing. It's just because not only is it much cheaper labor, but I know that I'm affecting a family in a way that's like, life-changing for them, versus somebody here, it's just a job. So yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. Jim, any other questions that you see?
Oh,
There
lighted
was-
lighted prop, by the way. You guys know about the lighted prop?
Yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah. So we're starting to go into production on the lighted prop. If you
Okay.
haven't seen this, you got to check it out. If you
I've
don't know what
seen
I'm
it.
talking about,
Awesome.
look at my channel because I have several videos on the lighted prop. We're getting ready to go in production on lighted prop, but we need to know how many to run for this, right? So if you're interested in one of those lighted props, let us know at Bad Apples or shoot me an email or something. Just get on the list because that first production run is going to be fairly limited. But I really need to know how many for that first run to go. So
How are people going to get up with you and ask to get that first run? How do we do that?
actually, a better way is to hit up Mark George. So just go to paraswagusa.com. I think his email is mark@paraswagusa.com. Hit up Mark to get on the list. That's a much better way actually than hitting me up. He's probably more organized than I am. So
I put your YouTube channel in the super chat. So
yeah.
if you guys want to go over to My Dog is Choking, Kris Wheeler's YouTube, there's the link in the super chat. Let's see. I think I saw something about, okay, there it is. Bill H. Does he have a VIP spot at Bad Apples?
Mark probably does because I think Paraswag is a vendor there. Pretty sure we
Okay.
are. But that doesn't mean I do. So I probably won't. And I'm hoping that I can get there before Friday. I'm probably going to be stuck somewhere in a pretty crappy place. You know that place is going to be packed. You know it is. I mean, remember last year, Sean, how packed it was?
It was really packed.
Oh gosh.
And I bet you it's going to be even more packed. I mean, we tried to figure out, we tried to guess how many pilots we're going to have this year opposed to last year. And I can't remember what I said. I think somebody wrote it down. We all guessed. How many people how many registered pilots do you think are going to be at Bad Apples this year?
I'm guessing, let's see. So I'm guessing 3+, right? So I'm
More
gonna
than three
say-
people? I think so too.
No, I mean 300. More than 3. Yeah, me, you, and who? Me,
Yeah,
and
just
Jim
me,
will be there.
you, and
We're
Mark.
done.
That's it. That's all it's going.
I think it'll be 300+. I really do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too.
So Mark, he just put it out there that you guys are going to be giving away a lighted prop at Bad Apples.
Oh, that is true. Yes.
What? They're going to give it away?
Yes.
What?
So
One
I think
reason.
maybe I might come to Bad Apples this year.
Yeah, one reason to come to Bad Apples is to definitely get a lighted prop.
That would be
First
awesome.
run on these, by the way, they're expensive, and we're trying to reduce costs as much as possible. Nobody's making money on this. They're going to be like $750 to $800, so it's quite the prize if you could win one of these.
Is it just like a Helix prop or an E prop or something like that?
It is a Helix prop.
Is it a certain
Helix prop.
size or different sizes or what?
It's a 125
Okay.
size. There's a reason we do that size. It also comes with the hub and the controller, right? Which is where all the electronics are, battery and all that stuff. It's Bluetooth to your phone with an app. There's also another controller that we're coming out with, so you can actually order either controller. And I think the other controller is a pro controller. Mark will know more about this, but it is Wi-Fi to your phone, and it's a totally different app, and you can set playlists and everything on it. So it's kind of cool. Yeah.
Wow. Set a playlist to
Yeah.
your prop. So what it plays music through the
No,
prop, or-
it plays different light shows. You can set what the lights are doing.
right.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I wanted a 140, you'd have to custom make it. It'd be more expensive, or it has to be a 125.
We won't make it. There's a reason why we're sticking with 125s now. We'll go to 130s as well, but there's a lot of QA process in this, and that process is timely, expensive, and everything else. So for right now, it's 125s. it's a novelty prop. It's not like, your everyday flyer, you know what I mean? No, nor do we think it should be your everyday flyer, because if you break one, they're kind of pricey. So that's why we're focusing on 125s, because they're the most popular size prop. So
Okay, well that makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I'd love to get one. Now it has that quick release hub, so you can.
No, it's
No?
got its own special hub that you have to use with it because of the electronics. The hub itself is actually lights up too.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'd still use our own spacer,
No.
right? No?
No.
So no, okay, so
You may need a spacer depending on if you need to move your prop away from your motor, but that's the only spacer you would need. You wouldn't need any other spacer. But
okay.
when you look at the hub, go to Bad Apples, look at the one that Mark's got, and he'll show you the hub. And I'll have one there too, so you can kind of see whether or not you need to space it out. I guess you would if you're presently spacing your Helix prop out, then you would need to space this one out too. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. I was just
Yeah.
double checking. Anything else in the super chat, Jim?
Yeah, is there a particular engine that the prop is for, or are there multiple engines that it works with?
Moster 185. Talk to Mark if there's anything else. I don't know if it works on HEs or anything else. I know it's good for the Moster 185 though.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, it's one of the most popular engines, right? So
Yeah. I'm sure we can get them made for other ones, as long as the size is the same. Understand that the longer the prop, the weightier that prop gets, and we're adding weight to the prop by putting the lights in. So there's a reason we got to stick with 125s until we get some more QA with the 130s and stuff. So,
All right. Sounds really interesting.
Well, it sounds like Bill H is going to upgrade his motor from an Atom 80 to a Monster 185.
just to get the lighted prop that he's going to win at Bad Apples.
Yeah, there you
go. What else are you guys going to be doing at Bad Apples? We're going to be able to demo any motors or props or wings or anything over there from Paraswag, or
I don't know what Mark has planned. Mark eats, sleeps, and drinks Paramotor at this point. So I'm sure he's got something, but I don't know what he's got planned. So you might want to ask Mark. Mark runs Paraswag. I'm just partnering with Mark. It's Mark's baby. He's
right.
He actually runs the whole thing. So I just take out the trash. That's it. And if that, and he usually yells at me because the trash is not taken out.
That sounds about right.
That's funny. Yeah.
Yeah. So Mark he confirmed, he said that it's only available on the Monster.
Only available on the Moster 185 right now. Okay.
Gotcha.
And it's only a 125 on the Moster 185. Okay. So sorry, everyone out there that has the Corsair or Atom 80, it just ain't going to work yet, but it doesn't take very much to put in multiple holes for multiple hubs. Matter of fact, that's what Vortex Aero does. Their Helix lookalike has multiple holes to go on multiple
engines,
machines. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
I don't know if you want to drill into those, because there's a gear ratio on every prop, that it's designed for. So I don't know if that's the greatest of ideas. So
no, I wouldn't drill either. No, it'd have to be pre-done. But that's something to think about in the future. So you have one prop that can fit on multiple hubs.
I think it would have to be a variable prop though, just because the gear ratio is different on engines,
So do you make them for the 2.68 and the 2.8, whatever it is, for the two different gear ratios for Moster, or only the 2.68?
So we don't actually make the prop, we modify the prop. So we're buying the props from Helix, we modify them and then resell them. So
okay, so you do have both ratios on the 125s, yes?
No, I would probably say we have I would ask Mark. I would probably say no, we just have the 268.
Okay, Mark,
which is the most popular, I think.
Yeah. Mark, do you guys have it for both the ratios for Moster 185, or is it just the 2.68? Man, you got so much going on and so much information and so much fun going to Colombia and gosh, this is just amazing. I'm like boom, boom, boom. It is
Well,
it's just I was not expecting the Colombia, vacation package thing, but I can't wait for you to get that ready. And I might take you up on it in a couple of months to fly down there with you and just, hang out and see what you guys got going on. It sounds freaking amazing.
Yeah.
So Mark just said that it's the 2.68.
Okay.
And sounds like there's going to be entertainment at Bad Apples as well. Luis is planning to wrestle Mark for the prop.
Ooh, Deweese Milstead? That's going to be great. Is that who it is? Deweese Milstead that says that? Okay.
Got the wrestling outfit on.
That is awesome. Official mud wrestling for a prop. I love it.
That's cool.
You know what?
We should create a pool and put some Jello in there. Make it really entertaining.
Yeah.
and make Mark wear a bikini. Yep. That would be great.
I don't know if anybody wants to see that.
At least just a Speedo, whatever. I mean, Mark is like, oh my God, really, Sean? Well, if you don't do the Speedo thing, how about you get $1,000 in cash and fly over us and dump all that cash out? Like they do at the Crazy Circus one.
There you go.
Was that circus one?
Flying Circus.
Arizona
Circus. Flying Circus.
Yeah, just like the Flying Circus. Absolutely. Which I need to go there eventually. Any other questions or comments or anything in the super chat?
I guess I got to correct it. What she's not actually going to wrestle Mark. She's going to wrestle Jade for the prop.
Wrestle Jade because Jade's going to win?
Because Jade wants the prop too, and there's so it's gonna be a Jello wrestle.
All right, I think this is gonna be great. I tell you what, in the super chat, if you think that we need to do a mud wrestling or Jello wrestling for the prop instead of just a, how are you guys gonna do the thing? Is it just gonna be like numbers and spinning wheel, or how are you going to give away the prop?
There's
Chris.
no mention of that.
Isn't that up to David Wolf? I don't know. I don't know. I would ask Mark or David Wolf how they're going to do that. Mark probably has an idea. I'm not sure, but
I think that
I know nothing. Literally, I take out the trash. If the trash is full, I'll take it out.
I think now it needs to be a Jello mud wrestling thing. It has to be a Jello mud wrestling. I mean, you go from the spinning wheel thing to a mud wrestling or a Jello. I'd rather watch the Jello wrestling. Sounds interesting. I know. Mark is like, oh, Sean, no Jello or mud. Yeah, I don't know. Jello would be good because then you can eat afterwards. It'll be the drawing at the pilot's briefing. That's what Mark George said. I don't know, Mark. I'm still thinking Jello. I think it needs to be a Jello.
Multicolored Jello. Yeah, the multicolored prop.
Yeah, there you go. We may do an auction for Resurgence. I think also too that we're going to try to bring, as far as ClearProp TV, we're going to bring a bunch of things to give away also over there. So we're probably going to have a little area for ClearProp and us, and just kind of, between us and everyone there, if you want to, we're going to give away things. I'm not sure how we're going to do it, and I'm not sure exactly what we're giving away, but I got some 3D printers printing out some cool stuff that we might just be giving away out there too. So
I will be giving away something as well for the kiting war, as long as Sean Netzger doesn't. Yeah, and he already knows that he's not allowed to compete. So, but I still haven't figured out what that is going to be, but I'll be giving away something for the kiting war which I think is Saturday afternoon or something like that. So
I don't think they had the kiting war last year, did they? I don't remember it. But then again, I could have been,
Yeah, I don't know, but yeah. So for the kiting war, it'll be from us as well. So
has anybody done a kiting war before or seen the kiting war, and what does that all involve?
So Mark George is also the expert on kiting wars because that's his big thing that he got at second. Minyard took him out at EFD a couple of years ago, and like he's been like, oh, I'm the kiting guy. And I'll give it to him. Mark's kiting skills are good, but I think mine are better. Just FYI. Carson Rodenizer, though, I think that guy is probably Matt Minyard's pretty good at kiting too. Yeah, it's tough, but basically, you just get your wing in front of somebody else's to block the wind and try to get them to. It's tough, Kiting wars they're entertaining though, especially if it's really windy.
Yeah, that sounds good. I've been really trying to up my game as far as the Pilot 2.0, as far as kiting skills. So I have to be better than the students, right? So I can't be there and they kick my butt on kiting. I got to like completely show them off. But yeah, I would really like to do that kiting wars. That sounds good. Has anybody in the super chat done any kiting wars? And if you did, how well did you fare? And are you going to do it again at Bad Apples? Hey, Jim, did you catch to see how many people were going to go to Bad Apples this year in the chat?
Oh, I didn't count. There was quite a few, but
that was your only job, Jim, is to count.
That was my job. Oh, jeepers! I'll go back.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Just messing with you. So yeah, you got a lot of interesting things going on, Kris. And for those of you out there that don't know why this guy says my dog is choking and that's his handle, I go by PPG Grandpa. He goes by my dog is choking. Linda goes by Paramotor USA. Jim goes by maple syrup smelling good money. But why? No, not really. But why, Jim, or why, Kris, are you going by my dog is choking? Obviously, I already know, but for the people out there that don't.
So in my family, I've taught my kids to test everything. Doesn't matter who says it. If it's your pastor, if it's your teacher, if it's your friend, if it's your parents, doesn't matter. Just test everything. Always don't believe everything just because the authorities say so. Test it, prove it to yourself. So feed it to the dog. If the dog chokes on it, then that's not for your consumption. So, my dog is choking. Basically, I don't buy your BS is what it means.
Gotcha. So yeah. If somebody says the world is flat, or the earth is flat, you got to go out there and test it and see if it really is flat.
So I put that in front of my kids. They had to prove that the earth was flat or was not flat. They couldn't do it. It's tough to do, but so I showed them and I taught them how to do it. There is definite ways that you can say what is the shape of the earth, but I had them test it, and that's a good one actually. If you have a teenager, that's really, really good. Because don't use videos, don't use pictures. Prove it to yourself. How do you test this? And they'll definitely learn something along the way, which is very good. So.
Absolutely. And it's interesting too, it's like, you can be a blind follower on anything out there. Mm-hmm. You definitely have to figure out, on your own, test everything and prove it to yourself by not using, Mr. Google, because he's not always right. And I don't trust everything that pops up on my Facebook.
Or Mr. Wikipedia. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. So thank you very much as far as, letting us know about the dog is choking. Are you interested in going over that video that we talked about or we showed before the show, or do you want to just nix that and continue on our podcast?
No, let's go through it. I think it's a good learning experience. I definitely learned something from it too. So.
Okay. So as I spool this up, go ahead and let everybody know what we're going to be watching.
So I was getting impatient. I was in around Southern Columbia, and I was and I wanted to get a flight in, and the day before I had gotten rained out, and I really wanted to get a flight in. I had borrowed a motor that had just come from the beach, so we're talking 5,000 feet in elevation difference. I didn't adjust the carb. I told myself to adjust the carb, but I skipped my pre-flight in order to just get flying. And the one thing I needed to do was check that card, because right here is where I get a motor out. No place to land, because you can see that the around the lake is just cliffs. And so I had to, and I couldn't flare here. Right about here is where I knew I couldn't flare. If I do, I'm running into barbed wire past that area that I'm about to land in. So
when we're looking at this too, it kind of looks like there's some, nice sandy beaches down there, and
yeah, but look
flat.
closely. Yeah, look closely. That's not beach. That's rock. There's no sand there. That's rock.
And that's a cliff
steep.
face. And
yeah.
That's a cliff face.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I had, before I learned how to land, I took a lot of face plants. And so I knew I had to take a face plant here.
So what are you coming up on? It looks like it's pretty clear. Looks like you got this, but you said there's some barbed wire.
You can see the posts right there, the barbed wire posts. And to the right of where I'm landing, that is cement banisters and stairs. So I wanted to stay away from that. Basically, I just had to eat it. And as you go through this, you'll see that the barbed wire, I run into the barbed wire and it sheared the GoPro off of my helmet. It literally, if I didn't have that helmet on it, I would have been scalped. I was very lucky to walk away from this.
So it's very important to wear a helmet, even though it may be uncomfortable or silly or whatever. It can save your life in an emergency, and that's what it's all about, right? Is in emergencies, just like what do you call it? Reserves.
Yeah, and I typically fly with 2 reserves. So reserves aren't a thing that I've ever had an issue with, but helmets are. Before this, I never wore a helmet unless I was filming. So I was very happy that I was filming on this one. Mark George has since made me promise that I will always fly with the helmet. And now I see why. Because if I hadn't been flying with the helmet here, I would definitely have been in trouble. But that's not the lesson I learned. The lesson I learned on this was don't skip a pre-flight, and don't let your risk reward be within the ranges that needs to be. I think I was a little bit farther on risk on this particular flight than I should have been.
Yeah, it looks like it's really beautiful there. It looks like there's lots of like looking straight down there. It's like I see grass, but it looks like it's a huge embankment. It's like a huge, a difficult way to land because it's not flat. I can't tell, but are there lots of outs that you think that you'd be able to land? Because you do a lot of spot landing. You are really good at spot landing.
Not a whole lot of outs, but as you let this go forward, if you pause it about right, keep going right there. You see just under my feet, push pause. Just under my left foot, you'll see this brown patch. Over there is where a thermal was coming up. So I could go over there, catch a thermal and go up. So I'd go around the lake, come down a little bit. Right there, you can see it on right there is where that patch of brown is. Mm-hmm. I could always catch a thermal there and come back up. That was kind of my only out, really. And basically my engine dies right here. So there's no way I can get it back there. The wind is at my back here, by the way.
Okay.
So there's no possibility of me getting back to that out. I mean, really, this was the lesson for me in stop being so haphazard. Things can happen and things will happen. And not only did I skip a pre-flight and not adjust this carburetor, but I was flying probably where I shouldn't have been flying. I was just so desperate to fly that I didn't care. I didn't care where I flew from. I didn't care what it looked like. I just wanted to fly. And I've gotten away with stuff like this 1,000 times, but this was that once that it came up and bit me, And so lesson learned. It's not, I'm definitely going to remember this one for a long time, because
when I'm looking at your setup there, did you have flotation?
No. And flotation, by the way, that wasn't a big deal to me. I was ready to bail into a lake if I needed to. And I had time to unhook and bail into the lake if that was an option. But I felt that this side of this cliff was actually a better option than bailing into the water here. So
Yeah, I'm looking at all this, and you can really tell from this angle that it's a complete cliff face. That's
Yeah.
not a
Yeah.
flat, sandy area to,
Mhm.
lightly touch down on.
Yeah.
Right there is straight down.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what you're going for over here too. You notice that everything was just
Yeah. Yeah.
no bueno. So where was this located? Where are we?
This is in Guatapé. It's Colombia. This is not where anybody that would go fly. The reason why I had access to this is because I knew one of the pilots, and that ledge where I took off from, he actually rents that ledge, and that's his LZ. But this is not a place that any pilot would actually fly out of. And this is 12 hours away from where we're actually would be flying in Colombia. So
it looks like, you did perfect. I mean, this little area right here, and look at these switchbacks, these all the way up here to this house. I know that you guys there were some people there that helped you with that, correct?
Yeah, so a little girl, she was in grade school, saw me, and she came down and brought her grandmother and her little brother, and her little brother is probably maybe first grade or something around there, and they actually made sure I was okay, and I had to carry the motor all the way up to that house, and they gave me some water, and it was really cool. They didn't speak any English, and I don't speak any Spanish, so there was no conversation to be had, but it was kind of cool that people actually were concerned and stuff. So yeah.
Did you hurt yourself at all?
So I couldn't sit down for about a month. I had bruised my tailbone severely. And I had some scrapes on my shins and stuff, but that was about it. Yeah. The worst of it would have been if I didn't have a helmet. I don't think I'd have a scalp today. So because the barbed wire literally severed the mount of the GoPro right off my helmet.
So because we don't know when we will have a motor out. Oh, what is this right here? Who's that? Is that you?
Yeah, that's me launching. You can see that as soon as I launch, I have no power. I'm full power right here, full power. And you can see I'm not getting any lift.
What was your altitude there, by the way?
About 5,000.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm way up in the mountains. It doesn't look like it because it's all jungle there, but yeah, I have zero power, and I knew at that point, I should probably not be flying, but I had been able to catch so many thermals and get back up, and then come back down and get back up, that I just kind of got like, I don't need an engine that bad. I can,
I don't need an engine that bad. I love it.
Stupid thinking, just wanting to fly more than having brains to fly is basically what that was.
Well, that's really nice that you met a bunch of nice people, and they helped you out, even though you had a language barrier.
Yeah.
And this is where you went through, right? Right here?
Yeah, right here. This was the little gap, and you can see the barbed wire that I ran into there. And yeah.
Wow.
But here's what's cool. I did not wreck any of the equipment.
Well, that's good, because you said that wasn't even yours, right?
It wasn't mine. Yeah. But
I'm really glad that everything's good, and one of the things that I really enjoy, and I really think is awesome, is that you put this up on the internet to show people, what happened. And when we see things like this, crash videos, it's not for people to go, what a dumbass, he should have done this or should have done that. It's not about what you should have, could have done. It's about what happened and how he took that. It's like all of a sudden, boom, there's no power and there's no place to go. Every pilot is going to have a time in their career when their motor dies and you're like, oh crap, now what? And your brain just goes a million miles an hour, and you try to go back to your train, try to figure out what to do. And this is what you're also talking about as far as your pilot 2.0. What do you do in these situations? Have you really, what do you do? And I don't think that I would be able to do anything different. I mean, I think I would have, probably almost scalped myself too, but
So this is the thing in SIV, you don't learn muscle memory. You're not doing it for long enough, right? You're just learning the brain. Okay, this is what I should do. But when you go back to your instructor and you're training every flight, hey, you're training spot landings, you're training something for your muscle memory. When something crazy does happen, you can rely on your muscle memory to make the right decision. This is that whole pilot 2.0 rather than relying on the SIV again. You know, it's that kind of discussion from before. I make a lot of mistakes, and this was certainly one of my biggest ones. But I hopes that somebody can learn. I definitely learned, you know, what not to do now. So, you know, hopefully somebody, how many times do you fly over trees with no out? I do it all the time.
yeah,
It makes me rethink doing that now, you know.
it's definitely risk versus a reward. I mean,
Yeah,
I still
yeah,
try
yeah.
to fly high enough that if I do have a motor out, because I've had motor outs,
Yeah.
you know, stupid things. I mean, everything was great, but I had the My 19 exhaust that blew up and took out my prop. You know,
Yeah.
how do you pre-flight that? You don't. You know, one time my fuel line cracked a little bit, so it's, you know, sucked up air, which means that no fuel got to my carburetor. How do you pre-flight something like that? I mean, you check it, but you don't check to see if it's going to crack 2 hours later when
Yeah.
you're flying, and that's what happened. 2 hours later, it went and it cracked. How do you do that? So one of the things I always do is I always replace my fuel line once a year, because I don't want that to ever happen again. What are some of the things that you what are some of the takeaways, Kris, on this particular incident?
For me, and maybe it's different from other people watching, but for me, because I experienced it, the biggest takeaway is it doesn't matter how anxious I am to fly, I always need to do that pre-check. And I always need to gather myself and say, is this flight worth me leaving the ground, right? Because there's sometimes I'm so desperate to fly. I live in a very windy area in general. You know, Dallas is like windier than Chicago. So I get a lot of 10-minute flights in, right? Where I'm just leaving the ground just as the sun is like almost got a sunset, just because it's the only window where the wind is maybe 12 and I can get off, right? And this, it was one of those times I'm so desperate to fly that I didn't care about what I was doing, right? I didn't care to take the time and do the pre-flight, you know, and my brain was thinking, oh, I got to get on an airplane and leave. I just want to fly in. I just want to get a flight in. And so for me, it's like, hey, look, take a step back and rethink, because holy crap, I got lucky on this. I really did. This was not this could have ended up so much worse than what it did. You know, and it was 100% my fault. This was not mechanical error, regardless of the carburetor. This was 100% pilot error. The pilot should have landed immediately when he noticed that there's a problem with the carburetor, and the pilot didn't, you know. So
we really appreciate you walking us through this, because
Yes.
this video, I've watched it a couple times, and you just can't see all the things that you're telling us here, all that went on. And also there's other people in the chat that said, hey, thank you for sharing this. Seems like it was an inexpensive but a valuable lesson.
yeah.
And like I said, I've gone through the video a couple times, and I never even imagined it. I didn't realize how steep that slope was. And I saw there where you were playing with the barbed wire after you landed. There it is. I don't think I saw that part of the video previously. And yeah, I can only imagine walking up that switchback with the bruised tailbone.
I know.
So on my flight home, I told the flight attendant, I'm like, I'm gonna be standing more than sitting, and everybody's looking at me, and I'm like, I stood up like 3/4 of that flight, you know, just because I couldn't sit down.
Well, I'm so glad that you're okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for walking us through this and for posting it. I mean, it's so valuable. It's a great lesson for people that are like thinking about getting into paramotors, to be able to look back after training and go, okay, I need to not be complacent. I need to do the same thing over and over again. I don't need to get up in the air. I need to make sure the equipment is good before I launch. It doesn't make any difference if all my friends are up in the air. I'll stay right here and finish up my pre-flight, make sure everything's good before I even start the motor. And
So part of your pre-flight is that to check your you said whether it's too lean or not because of the altitude. Do you do that? You don't do that every time. You just do that when you're changing altitudes or LZs or.
If you're changing a bunch of altitude, right? If you're going across town to fly it, you don't need to do that, right? Just make sure your throttle works, right? The throttle. If I would have just checked the throttle in my pre-flight, I would have remembered, oh yeah, crap, I told myself earlier to fix the carb on this. And I didn't even check the throttle. I didn't care. I just wanted to get up in the air. You know, in PPL, we're required, or in your private license, your pilot license, you're required to do a pre-flight, right? You're not required in this. So that's why a lot of times it just gets well, we'll check this or this. And you fly so much that, you know, in the beginning, you're always doing your pre-flight. You know, as a beginner, you're just like, that's a huge thing. Mm-hmm. Complacency is really the sin here, right? It's the sin of complacency is what I failed at. So, yeah.
You think maybe because this is considered experimental aircraft, that's why it's not certified. We don't have an N number and we don't have to have inspections because of that. And we are under the FAR 103. You think maybe that, a pre-flight that shouldn't be part of the FAR 103 or what we do, but that's something that we should have like a printout that we do go through, just like a pilot does, to make sure everything is good before we do take a flight. I know that everything that I do as far as pre-flight is, pretty much in my head, but I do a post-flight also. After I land, I double check everything. And once I bring it all back to the house, I will go through the whole thing. Every 10 hours, I pop the head off. I make sure that little exhaust port thing is clean. I make sure that the head is clean. And I change out the spark plug every 10 hours. And I tell you what, I don't have very many problems with my motor at all. But what do you think as far as having a checklist, a pre-flight and a post-flight, and do it every single time?
Well, I think it's a good idea. We're not flying experimental aircraft. We're flying ultralight aircraft, right? So there's a difference in the way that FAA categorizes us. But most wing manufacturers, if you read your wing manual, there's a pre-flight in there. Most people don't even read their wing manual, right? Can you tell me, right? Can you tell me exactly what your wing is made out of? Probably not. Most people can't have no clue what fabrics their wing are made out of, right? So they don't know really the care of the fabric, and the fabric difference in care is huge. It is a huge difference. In fact, just between the upper side and the lower side of your wing, the care is different, right?
What kind of care are you talking about? What do you do? I mean, do you throw it in the washer and dryer, and or you hang it out on a line? What do you do?
To be safe, use water and a cloth only when you're cleaning your wing. That's the safest way, right? But a lot of people spray Scotchgard on their wing, right? So what kind of fabric should you not put Scotchgard on, right? Well, there's a huge list of those. Porchers gives a list of what you should be doing with your wing care. So everybody, I think, should visit the Porcher site and
how do you spell that?
Porcher. And they'll go over their different fabrics and how to care for those different fabrics, right? Lines, huge importance to lines, right? Do you know that Dyneema, if you're flying Dyneema lines, that if you get them hot or wet, they won't stretch and come back to the normal length. You think this is not a big deal, but it's actually a big deal because there are longer lines and shorter lines, and throwing that tilt out is a big deal. Aramid or Kevlar doesn't do that, right? So Kevlar tends to fray and Dyneema doesn't tend to fray. So there's a lot of things in wings and stuff that we kind of take for granted, but if you just read your manual, you'll see that there's a pre-flight in there. Actually doing that pre-flight is another story though. And that's kind of what I think complacency, regardless of where that complacency is really what got me. And I think I see a lot of other pilots doing the same thing. So
for all the people in the super chat, do you guys do pre-flights? Of course, on your motor you do, but do you actually do a pre-flight on your wing? Let's see. Lift Paramotor said never had a motor out, knock on wood, which means that this weekend coming up, you're probably gonna have a motor out, so be careful. All right. Pre-flight discussion, really good, says Fly Swamper. Although the pre-flight discussion is good, I would submit that main. Gosh, I'm a
says
grandma.
main learning
Darn
here
it.
shouldn't be better pre-flight, it should be better choice of flight path.
Yeah.
I don't disagree with them. I think it's the pre-flight would have caught me on the and so I wouldn't have had the engine out, but that's really wasn't my whole problem. My whole problem was complacency. I didn't care. I just wanted to fly it in, and he's right about the flight path, not having great outs, using thermals to get up instead of using the engine to get up, just not having flotation over water. I mean, there's 1,000 things that were just absolutely wrong about this flight. And so, yeah, I don't disagree with him at all.
Well, I definitely appreciate you a lot for sharing this and going over it with us. And I know that we don't need to, continue to talk about this. And this is not about failure of a pilot. This is about, going to that 2.0. 2.0 is pre-flighting your motor, pre-flighting your wing, do a post-flight on your motor, do a post-flight on your wing. That right there is your pilot 2.0. I mean, doesn't have to be flying. It can be all about, taking care of, or better care of your equipment.
Yeah, but I think pilot 2.0 really needs to improve skill level too. I think improving skill level is something I don't see enough of in pilots. And so I think the community's kind of lax there. I think the community's overboard with, and I mean overboard with worrying about the FAA coming down with rules against us and regulations and that kind of thing. And I would say I would be less worried about that and more worried about the skill of the piloting of the community as a whole than worrying about what the FAA is going to do. If we all tried to become a better pilot and if we were all self-regulating like we should be, we wouldn't have an issue worrying about regulations coming down. So what I see the lack in the community is the increased skill level. People get to this plateau and then they stay at this plateau. And I see 90% of the pilots are right here. There needs to be an uphill climb continually on your skills. Doesn't mean you're introducing any more danger. It just means you're introducing better skill.
Interesting. We are rolling up on 9 o'clock. Unbelievable how time just flies like we do with paramotors. Just goes. Just like on the pre-show, I was saying, if I didn't do this show every Monday, a month would go by and I'd be like, well, what the hell just happened to that month? It's like, I thought we just did the show and all of a sudden it's like, it's Monday already. It's like, where did this week go? It's unbelievable how time just leaves us. I don't want to keep you here longer than you need to. You want to wrap it up in the next 15 minutes and call it a day at 9 o'clock, or do you want to continue to just talk as long as it flows? It's up to you, bud.
I've got nowhere to be. I'm already at home, so I'm good.
I have nowhere to be either. As long as my wife doesn't come in here and say, I'm going to bed, you got to be quiet. No, she's never mean like that. She's always nice and gives me hugs and kisses and says, you're good and I love you. Seriously, she's a great woman. No, really, she is. No, but I love to do these podcasts as long as we're able to keep it flowing and we don't lose anybody in the super chat. Matter of fact, how many likes we have? We have 16 likes and 21 views. So if you're able to hit that little thumbs up, we definitely appreciate it. Really helps a lot. Let's go ahead and go through the super chat and say hello to everybody, because it has been a minute since we said that. So we'll go back up to where Nick Griffith donated $5 to in super chat. Definitely appreciate you, Nick. We got Gen C, and you know what? I need these things. That really sucks. We got Gen C, Nick Griffith, Eric PPG, Lear, Shannon Brooks, Lift Paramotor Care PPG, Jim Senard from Canada, lots of chatting back and forth. Flying Flamingo Jade is in the house. What's up, Jade? Good to see you. Bill H. Shane Wyman, Daniel Roosh, Lift Paramotor again, Tommy Sutherland. Wow, just so much chatting going on over here. I wish I was able to just sit here and watch all the chat. Jen C, Travis D, Angela Preslick. Hi, friends. I see you. Who else do we have in here? James. Let's see. Who else is in here? I'm scrolling down. Lots of chatting. I love it. You know what? The next day, I go through and watch everything. And go through the chat list, which is really awesome. Steve Packard, Jen C, Angela Preslick, Tony Marzano, Bill H. It just keeps on going on and on and on. If I missed you, I'm really super sorry. I'm going to scroll down all the way to the end now. I think Mark George was in the house too. Shane Wyman just said something to us. Would you say, I'm finally back? Welcome back, Shane. And lots of questions, lots of talking. So thank you very much for hanging out. C. Mahoney. Hey guys, sorry I'm late to the party, but my ETA is 1 a.m. on Thursday. Oh, is that going to be okay? Will the field be open to park camp at Bad Apples? As far as I know, because I'm going to be there at Thursday also. So hopefully we will all hang out and I'll say what's up over at Bad Apples. Anyways, did I miss anything, Mr. Jim? Everything's good. Are you munching on something? Maple syrup, maple syrup money. Oh, you're going green. Good for you, bud. Well, what else is going on with you, Chris, as far as the companies? I know that you got a lot of companies that you're running. You going all over the United States and all over the world, apparently, setting up different things. Just absolutely amazing, all the stuff you do. Anything else going on that we didn't touch on by any chance?
My daughter, this is the best news I've had in a long time. My daughter's getting married.
Oh, congratulations!
Yeah. So
awesome. When's the
that's
big
a
day?
huge thing. So I'm not sure yet.
Okay. Does she fly?
No, actually, she's been begging me to take her up on tandem, right? If I do, I have to do it out of the country because I don't have my tandem exemption here in the States yet.
Gotcha.
So I might actually just bring her down to Columbia and fly her there or something, or get, somebody I know here to fly her around. I taught my son.
You don't need your exemption over in Columbia?
There is no, I don't think there is an exemption. There's a license. Rules are a little different there. Let's just say the rules are a little different.
Okay,
I've asked, I don't quite understand. Basically, they told me this: stay away from air traffic. Like, stay away from airports, stay away from cities. Nobody will bother you.
Yeah, that's kind of like over here too. If you're not around cities or airports and you're just out in fields, nobody cares.
Yeah, nobody will bother you. So
okay.
Yeah. So and I want to also do free flight as well, and so that's why I've been spending a lot of time there. Just the instruction I'm getting over there is amazing. I taught my son how to fly last year, or maybe it was about last year.
Free flight or motor? Free flight or motor? Oh, really? Both? Wow.
Motor. He's now at the university. He's a freshman at Purdue now.
Congratulations.
So he'll be coming to Bad Apples. Whether he'll fly or not, I'm not sure, because it's been about a year since he's flown, and that's not some place you want to learn, or relearn. That's not a learning thing while you're flying. Too much traffic. So he'll probably just hang out. But my daughter's been begging me to take her up. So I think
that's awesome.
Yeah, I just need to actually spend more time at a school. Maybe I'll hit up Noah. I think Noah Rashetta does tandem lessons, I think, doesn't he? Is it Nick or Noah that does the tandem lessons? One of those guys does. I think might hit them up and do some tandem lessons and get my exemption there.
I guess we can
So-
ask people in the super chats, everybody in the super chat, where would you go, or where would you recommend to go get your tandem exemption?
Keep in mind it's foot launch. I'm not interested in trike. Not interested.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't trike at all then?
No, I just, I have this thing, right? Where is if I'm old, Sean, I'm old.
Yeah, I'm
And
older,
it's
than,
one
I'm
of
older
those-
than you, buddy.
It's one of those things where as soon as I start getting on trike, it's kind of like it's a mental thing for me, right?
So you
It's
think that once you start triking, you won't want to go back to foot launch?
No, it's just that I'll have an excuse not to foot launch in a nil wind. There are times where, nil wind is tough, right? And there are times where you blow launches and you're just like, oh, I hate this. And if you had a trike, you would just be like, well, it's nil wind and I know I can get up with the trike, no issue, without, expanding any energy. It's that mental thing for me. I'm just trying to stay away from trikes as long as possible, just because I know the inevitable will hit me eventually. And while I have the legs, I definitely want to use them. So I want to do tandem foot launch, even though I know tandem foot launch is like a disaster waiting to happen, just because I've seen enough of those videos to where it's like, oh gosh, it's one of those things where you really should just kind of, do it as long as you got a good helper wind, nil wind tandem foot launches they never end up
I've seen a bunch of those videos too. But here's something, get yourself like a retractor trike, not an actual trike itself, but like something that you can bolt onto your foot launch. And that way, like when Bad Apples rolls around, I'm gonna take my trike thing and I'm gonna, drive myself to the other side of the field, and I can unbolt it and fly from there. Go fly around foot launch, land there, bolt back on, and drive back over instead of walking. Your paramotor. You know how hard it is walking a paramotor. It wears you out. So I think the wheel is the way to go.
Yeah, but sometimes that's the only exercise I'll get all day. Is just because what I do. It's like I'm behind my computer all day long. So sometimes walking my paramotor is the only exercise I'll get that day. I don't want to give it up yet. You know who Mr. LoJack is? You watch his stuff. LoJack. I can't remember his Wojciech or something. He's a Polish guy, right? You know Mr. LoJack? Okay. If you don't know his channel, look it up. He's a Dudek experimental pilot, right? So he's a team pilot for Dudek, and he's also does all of their test piloting and stuff. I mean, the guy is world champion X times over. He is an insanely awesome pilot. In fact, I don't think there's a better motor pilot out there than Mr. LoJack. And he once in a while will take a trike, and I've seen him do slalom courses with a trike. It's amazing, his skill. So I think that, if he can do a trike, so can I, but I still don't want to. I want to stay away from those as long as possible. So
no, there's not really a lot of places that really allow you to fly a trike. I mean, it really has to be, open, flat. So I don't trike a lot. Usually when I take the students over to the sod farm, I'll bolt it on and, tool around and do some triking and stuff. But all in all, I still foot launch majority of the time, and nil wind launches, because we do the power, nil wind, it's still 10, 12 steps and you're in the air. So
and you better commit and run as hard as you can. And every time I foot launch in this no wind, I'm like, I gotta lose some weight.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way too. Yeah, gotta lose some weight.
Yeah, it's hard at this age though. It's tough, it's tough.
And like I said, I'm still older than you, dude. You're just that youngin. You're just that youngin.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Wow, we got 24 likes and 22 people watching. So thank you very much, guys, for hitting that thumbs up. That really does help a lot. We definitely appreciate you guys. It's rolling up on 9 o'clock. What else is going on with Paraswag? Anything in the works other than the really cool prop that you got going on? Anything else? I know that you guys have that. What are some of the things that you over at Paraswag USA has that's really neat, like the hub, the one-click hub? You pull it off, put a new prop on, click it on. There's no more bolts to turn. What are some of the cool things that we can find over at paraswagusa.com?
Well, Paraswag has a couple different quick release hubs. The one that I like is the 100% aluminum one that twists on and off, right? I like that way better than the quick release one. The cool thing that Paraswag has is Mark is always coming up with really cool ideas. The drill batteries, the battery for a drill,
Right.
He's got a setup to where you use that and you can just take it off and charge it for the electric start for Vitarazi engines.
Nice.
Yeah, so you just plug in your battery and your electric start, and you need to charge it. You take it off, you just put it in the drill charger. It comes with a charger, it comes with everything you need. It's just a one kit, and it's stuff like that. Just really cool stuff. The strobes, right? He's been working with Philip on some killer strobes that go in your wingtips, to do a red, a green, and they all strobe at the same time.
Which are much lighter than the PPG smoke ones that we're doing the same thing.
Yeah, and better built too. I've bought some of those. I don't like the PPG smoke ones. I love their chase cams though, by the way.
They don't sell them anymore.
What?
Yeah,
that's not true. Really?
They don't sell them anymore. No more,
Why?
more chase cams. I don't know, but I've been printing them out on the 3D printers. I'll be bringing some over to the to Bad Apples because I printed out some with wings.
Interesting. I want to see the ones with wings.
So they have a vertical and a lower, fin, and then they have the wings for more stability. Pretty cool.
So Mark has always got some cool stuff that he's working on and experimenting stuff with, and just some of the stuff's like not even on the website. Just talk to Mark, and Mark would be able to hook you up if you're looking for anything particular, and if he can't get it, he can tell you where to get it at or whatever. But yeah, he's a tinkerer himself, so he's constantly coming up with some cool inventions and stuff. So
interesting. I'm looking in the super chat right now, and Shane Wyman said I'll be 49 next Tuesday. So happy birthday to you, Shane Wyman. Whisper Jet America said, any chance we'll see a 36-inch diameter motor?
Yeah, that would be about 88 centimeters. That's kind of, you think that's in reference to a motor or a prop?
I'm not sure. Can you let us know, Whisper Jet America, is 36-inch diameter motor? Are we talking about a prop, or are you talking about the size of the motor itself? Oh, I see. Jim already said more information, please. Okay, yeah.
Oh, EFI. Also, if you're looking for a bolt-on EFI, talk to Mark George as well, right?
Really? And Tony Marzano just said, could that battery run a fuel pump if you do have an EFI?
So the EFI actually had, the one that Mark can get is, like I said, Mark knows way more about this. I just take out the trash. It has its own alternator and everything, and it can charge your battery. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that's spectacular.
Yeah. It's a little tiny alternator that runs off the belt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The whole thing is just cool. Really cool. Yeah. And no carb. I love the idea of never having a carburetor.
Oh my God. I want EFI so bad because
Vitarazi's already released it at the Paramotor Championships in Brazil. We won't see it for a bit in the market, but if you want to take your old motor and put EFI on it, talk to Mark George. He'll know, he knows how to do it. He can get all the parts for you and everything.
So is it like an easy thing to do DIY, or is it something that Mark George and Paraswag will have to do, or how does that work as far as the EFI is concerned?
No, it'll be do it yourself. I've seen it and I wanted to put it on mine, and I just haven't seen Mark since. But I have two motors that I really want to put EFI on. So I need to sit down with Mark myself and say, hey, how do I do this? But I don't think he's got it as a full, here you buy everything and it's just a, quick 30-minute job, but I think he's working on getting that done. So it's like a one-stop shop. You just buy it and you just bolt it on type of thing. But I know that's coming down the pipe, and as far as Parasite goes. So.
I'm going to have to talk to Mark about that. I have not talked with Mark in a while. He's been all over the place doing all sorts of fly-ins and having fun and stuff. And
Mark is teaching flying now too.
Yeah.
He's down with Ron Turan at Lone Star Paramotor teaching. So he's getting in his instructor license and everything. So yeah.
Interesting.
Mark eats, sleeps, and drinks paramotor at this point.
I think a lot of us do. Whispered Jet America said the size of the back, not the motor itself, but the cage size.
So there is that mini mott that's out there that's from Europe, and it's got a smaller cage size with a very small prop, but it's also got a very small fuel tank.
So is it similar to those small motors that are on the free flight harness that is electric type of thing? Is it small like that electric one that people are putting on their free flight harness, or the little motor? Yeah, the power pods. Man, I would love to get one of those. Those sound cool.
So those are different. They're like a ducted fan type idea, but the mini mott is a paramotor, which is very compact, very small.
And what is it called, Jim?
Mini mott. M-I-N-I-M-O-T.
M-O-T?
Yeah.
Mini mott? Okay. I'll have to look into that. That sounds interesting. And that's just a smaller motor with a small...
It's a smaller motor with a smaller prop, and it has a smaller fuel tank to reduce the aerodynamics, make the aerodynamics better, so that if you can take off with it with a heavier weight, you can take off of it with it, like 200-pound person can do that. But
so is it like an Atom 80, something like that, or what? Because I haven't seen it. I guess I need to look and see what it shows. But is it smaller than an Atom 80? Because
no, I don't think it is. But we'll have to look.
So what is the advantage of it though, Jim? I mean, what's the purpose?
I think the idea is so that you can get up and be able to catch thermals and then go thermally.
Gotcha.
More so than
okay.
Yeah, so it's that hybrid idea then. Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, I just searched for mini mott and it says the smallest and lightest paramotor. My internet's not the best in the world right now, so I clicked it and it's still just sitting here. So it's almost feels like I'm on dial-up. Remember the good old days, dial-up?
Yeah.
2400 baud.
The problem with it is that thermaling with a paramotor is really not the greatest because you're sitting upright. You don't get you're not actually reclined, and plus when you have a paramotor on you, you can't really feel the wing, so it's not as good as an experience as free flight. So that's why I like the idea of those power pods, because they're made so you're actually still in a free flight harness, but you have power just in case you don't live by a mountain and you can actually get up to elevation. So this looks like it's on a paramotor frame here, this mini mott.
Yes.
So I'm still wondering, do you really want a thermal with this? I guess you could. It's just not going to be fun,
Well,
I mean, I thermal with my Moster 1A5. I mean, I just get up high enough and I use my Vantage 3
it's just not fun. I mean, if you really want a thermal, you kind of want to be in a free flight harness. You actually want to feel the wing, not on a paramotor. You can do it on a paramotor. It's just not. I'm wondering why you would choose this instead of a power pod.
You can use this for paramotoring. It's just you've got a very small fuel tank. I can look it up, but it's pretty small.
It looks really small because, looking right here, I can see the harness, and then here's looks like here's the edge of the frame. The frame already.
You can get a 12-liter tank on it, but it's a bigger tank. It's not as aerodynamic the way they've set it up. And it also blocks the air from getting to the prop as easily. So then there's not as much thrust because of that.
It looked like it said it was 170 cc's.
So that's not a bad size engine, 170 cc's.
No, there's that small frame that they were asking about, smaller frame.
Maybe I'm just like not getting it, but I just don't see the purpose of the small frame.
I don't know.
I don't get it.
But it is interesting nonetheless is to see all these different things that people are doing, it's like, what are people doing, and what do they want to do? And I've never heard of this. And the thing is, they say it's the smallest and lightest paramotor. So like this said, maybe these are for kids.
Yeah, maybe. I think that would be a good idea. For maybe that's their market, is the kids and the maybe light females or whatever. So otherwise I don't see why you would want a small frame. You're just better off with a power pod, which, by the way, I think Scout, as well as that company out of, I think they're in the Baltic or close to Eastern Europe, was the one that made the power pod with the ducted fan. Both of them have that recline, so you're actually getting that free flight experience,
Yeah, I saw the power pod and I thought that was really awesome. I'm trying to find it on the internet as far as
I can see that thing taking off in a good 5 to 10 years. I can't see it. I think it's going to be a slow ramp up, but for those of us that live in the Midwest or in Texas, like I do, and wanting to free flight, you just don't have very many options outside of being towed up or one of those power pods. And I know those power pods you can launch from the ground, and at least you can get up and then do your free flight for the day. And you're still, there you are, and you're still reclined like you would be. And you still have a free flight harness on there. So you're not like trying to thermal with a paramotor, which again, you can do. It's just not the greatest experience. It's better to have that free flight harness on.
Yeah, and look at how tiny that is. Obviously, I assume that it is an electric start, because I just don't know how you would start it like that. Or, but I did see videos of this that you just basically launch like it's a paramotor, and then once you get up, you just put your feet in the pod.
Yeah, and turn the motor off, recline yourself, and it looks like it's out of Russia, actually. So I don't know I don't know if the present situation is going to keep that from getting to the market or not, but I know Scout was working on one too, so I don't know where they are with that, but I could actually see this being a thing, maybe a niche market, but I would love to try one,
Let me redo this, because I didn't put it on the optimize. So
David Wolf just joined. So hey, David.
What's up, David Wolf?
Yeah.
So I see that this is one of the reasons why I do not want. I mean, the reason why I don't want to free fly is because I don't want to end up in a tree, and I want to be able to grab the power if I need to, so I don't run into a tree. I don't want to be that guy.
Well, the idea there, Sean, is to stay up in the air.
Well, I know,
not necessarily
right?
to stay in trees. I don't know why you're worried about trees.
I'm worried about trees because I've seen a lot of videos where they lose lift and they end up
I will tell you this. The best pilots in the world are free flight pilots, not paramotor pilots. So going back to the Pilot 2.0, if you want to increase your skill, definitely ditch the motor and do some free flight, because you'll definitely be a better pilot for it.
I like towing. I like to be towed up and fly around. To me, the chances, I think it's risk versus reward.
Well, I would also say it has to do with where you're launching, right? So where I launch in free flight in Colombia is that city of San Felix, which is overlooking Medellin. And there's the top landing where you're at, which there's no trees. I mean, there's a big area for top landing, which is what you're supposed to do. But if you just happen not to catch thermals and you have to land down at the bottom, there's a big open area there for you to do it as well. It's just like a motor, as far as staying away from trees. Just make sure that you have your outs. It's the same thing. You don't want to land in trees with a motor, but what if you have a motor out? It's basically just managing your flight, just like you would with a motor, but you just don't have the power behind you. You have to use the power of the earth and the wind, both dynamic and thermal.
But I could see myself free flying like this, with the opportunity of free flying. But if I get myself in trouble, or if I'm too far away from the LZ, or, the wind is taking me, 100 miles past my LZ, I want to be able to land where I want to land. And this would give me the opportunity to land where I want to land.
I really think you should try free flight, because it's not an option. It's not a thing of if the wind is going the wrong way and I go, that's not it. Like, you're not going to be blown off course if you choose not to go off course. As far as your flight management goes, you design your flight before you leave where you're going from, right? Most of the time, you're landing exactly where you took off from. You want to top land, right? And that's the idea. You just go around, you catch a thermal, you get a little height, you go around, you catch another thermal, you get a little height, and you just land where you took off from. Mm-hmm. That's really free flight. It's, I would probably say 90% of all free flights are landing and taking off exactly where you're at the same place. It's the XC flight. It's those cross-country flights that you're landing off somewhere else. And in those, it take a lot of planning, because you've got to plan where you're going to go and what, that kind of thing. But when you're learning the sport, you're certainly not, going from point A to point B. You're staying exactly at point A. So
I've done a little free flying, but I've seen people that, get up there really high and they try to go as far as they can. I know that I've traveled many miles trying, picking up people that have, gone up and, tried to go many miles away free flying, which sounds fun, but I don't want to wait for someone to pick me up. I don't want to have to go up to the top of a mountain and wait for the right conditions. I really like the, if I want to free fly, I can go out to any LZ that I'm already at and use this pod, this flying pod thing with a motor on it. That to me sounds like I would love to do that.
I think that they're onto something there. I definitely agree with you, and especially if you don't live by the mountains. If you're in the Midwest, this seems like it would be a cool thing for you. And it looks, from their video, it looks like they've figured out a lot of stuff. I just hope that it makes it to the market,
I hope so too.
Or if they don't, I hope Scout makes it to the market, or somebody, So,
but here's that little motor, with the little frame that we were asked about, and we found it for you guys. I would love this. I wonder how much it costs.
One of the
I don't
things
even know if you can buy it, can you?
I don't know.
No, it's not available yet. No. It's a ways away.
It's a ways away. Okay, so it's a 2-stroke, 25 horsepower, and 25 horsepower is the same as a Melser 185?
Yeah, about.
Yeah, so it's a pretty powerful little motor.
Probably not as efficient though, just because it just doesn't have the.
I was talking to a guy here the other day, and he's looking at getting into the sport, and it's a common question. It's like, people think that the smaller the cage, the smaller the everything, the lighter it'll be. For some reason, they feel that it is impossible to carry these things if they're a small person, or even if they maybe not in as good a shape as other people. But really, it's not that heavy. Like, these things are quite light when you first get them on, and after having them on your back for a little while, once you've gone through training, your muscles have developed to such a stage where you can keep them up no problem. I remember when I first started paramotoring, I could barely handle the thrust coming from that Monster 185. And now I'm like, cool, I'm at 8,600.
You mean just standing up and running it before you take off?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was having a hard time dealing with 6,500. And I actually was commenting to my wife here the other day. I've got my legs, both of them have substantially different muscle composition. Like one of them is really beefy at the top, and the other one is got muscles that go right down to the knee. And I'm wondering to myself, how did this happen? I've never seen that before.
You got some beefy legs. You know what? So now I'm going to say that your money smells like maple syrup and you got beefy legs.
Thank you. All right. So I'll keep my mouth shut.
No, it's great. It's great. I love my friends. Oh
But
my
yeah,
goodness.
it's not a big deal. It doesn't take long to develop the muscles and to get it. And the hardest part of learning the paramotor is the training. That's where you end up, you got that wing above you and you're running 2 football fields with the wing above you. But once you're flying, you never have to do that again.
Looks like Eric Lear posted a Facebook group link in the chat for all the people that are going to Bad Apples. Paramotor stuff for sale at Bad Apples. Oh, okay. So you can join the group. It's on Facebook, and it's that's pretty cool. Let me go ahead and share it real quick so you can see it. Thank you, Eric, for sharing that with us. It looks like paramotor stuff for sale at Bad Apples. There's 38 members right now. It looks like they're going to be selling stuff at Bad Apples, and of course, everyone that's joined is probably going to be going to Bad Apples. So
now that we have David in the chat, if you had any questions about Bad Apples, he's the guy who would definitely know.
Absolutely. If you want to, David, you still have
go back. I saw some cool socks. Go back up.
Oh my God, paramotor socks! Look at that.
Jade, I'm gonna have to hit Jade up. Look at
That's
those
from
socks.
Jade yesterday from Tomahawk Tees. There it is, Tomahawk
Those
Tees.
are cool.
Yeah, so make sure you run over to Jade.
Oh my
Tomahawk
God.
Tees. There's Tomahawk
Chris's
Tees.
face is like, yeah.
And that's pretty cool.
I don't blame you.
Hey, Lift Paramotor wants to know if Kris has had a chance to fly the Go Flare Mustache.
No. Those things are starting to become extremely popular, especially with free flight. Those mustache. I have not even had the chance to touch one yet. Would love to get my hands on one though.
Awesome. Wow, it's going on 9:30 already. We're just rolling through tonight. I just cannot believe how quickly the time is going by.
Moving right along.
How many people we still have in this stream? I haven't even checked that yet. I've been looking at all these other things. Kris, have you had the chance to go? Okay, I just saw that. You better be there Wednesday too. You missed Ladies Night last week. TomahawkTees.com. Absolutely. Walter's in the chat. Walter from Australia. So you know what's good about when Walter says hello? We know that tomorrow is coming.
That's right.
So
yeah. And the koala bears.
And the koala bears are so adorable. So adorable.
There is a place that I would love to go from coast to coast, fly from like Perth to, even if you just end up in like Sydney or something like that, rather than going up to the Gold Coast or whatever. But that would be a great flight just over the bush. You'd need to that flight or Mongolia. I think those would be the two bucket list flights if you ever wanted to do some cool cross country stuff. Both you would need support with, but Walter, if you ever want to be my support guy, I'll definitely head down south to Oz. And it's been a few years since I've been there, and do something like that. That would be fun.
You know what? Maybe we should bring some people on real quick. I mean, it is almost 9:30. You know, I don't want to, you know, stay on until midnight, but I can put our information as far as Zoom in the super chat. If you want to jump on and hang with us for the next 10 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, you're more than welcome to. So here's the Zoom meeting. You can click the link and it goes straight to it, or you can use the meeting ID and passcode and log into Zoom, and you will hang out with all of us if you want to. So,
Right.
All right, it is now in the super chat. So join us. I'm going to add a waiting room. So when you join, just hold on a second. I'll let you in. We had an issue where I just opened it up and had the craziest thing that happened. Remember all those people that just jumped in for no reason and started causing some havoc? So we have the waiting room now. Jim, anything else going on in the super chat that I missed?
Lift Paramotor says that he's gone from coast to coast at the Outer Banks. Would that be like going coast to coast, coast to coast, coast to coast, coast to coast? Or isn't there a lot of coasts in the Outer Banks?
I would say.
We got a big coast. We got a big coastline here. Not
What
so
is-
much.
How wide is the Outer Banks at the widest point? It's only got to be a couple miles, if that, right?
Probably.
Yeah. But at least he can say he's
we
got
talking about
coast
the
to
Outer
coast.
Banks, like are we talking about Outer Banks over at like North Carolina Outer Banks?
Yeah, I think that's what he's talking
That's
about.
what I was thinking. And Walter says he's your man. You want to go coast to coast in Oz? He'll make it happen.
Would love to do that. Would love to do that. Yeah,
I'd love to be part of that. Man,
Yeah.
that would be awesome.
that would be an epic trip. That's for sure. Yeah,
We might
as
have
long
to
as
do
there's
that.
no pandemic in the middle of it, because Australia is not the place you want to be in a pandemic.
No, you do not. No, you do not. Didn't they just close down China again? They just closed down something else. I saw.
Yeah, something not good over there. Yeah.
Not good at all. Well, no one's jumping on, so maybe no one wants to chat with us. So, oh, that's right. There's a little bit of lag, so maybe it'll be a minute before they actually see what we're talking about here. Anything else, Jim or Linda? Any other questions or anything?
No, this was fun. It's fun. I'm just like so chilled tonight. Just hanging with you guys. Thank you, Chris, for coming. Hanging with us tonight. It's always
Yeah.
fun.
Well, thanks
I
for
know.
reaching out to me. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you're willing to share, but people were wondering where you kept disappearing to.
Oh,
Who?
well,
Chris?
first of all, I
Who?
hadn't ate dinner, so I was
Oh, you, Linda.
taking
Okay.
a little
Who?
dinner. Yeah, well,
Down.
I get on the show and then, I listen to you guys and everything, but sometimes, family calls. Yes, sister, what? Yes. Hi, Mom. Yes, that's my Monday.
Now everybody knows.
Yeah. I'm like, always tell them, I have a show. Don't call me. I'm on a show.
Well, it seems like everything kind of slowed down. We don't have any more questions in the super chat. No one wants to jump on. We're losing viewers. We're down to 20 viewers, but we have 25 likes, which is good.
Yeah.
Hey, Lift Paramotor, I hope to fly with you too. And Fly Swamper, I am just east of Dallas.
East of Dallas.
Yeah.
Was there something in the super chat that I missed?
I don't know what super chat is. It was just in the regular chat.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh,
that's
regular
that-
chat,
that's
yeah.
the regular
Oh,
chat is a
okay.
super chat. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
But
I
they're
mean,
all
okay.
super.
Don't know
They're
if you're
all
starting to
super
become.
chatters.
I see,
You
I
can
see.
say the super chat because they're all my super
All right.
chat.
I didn't know if
maybe-
he was going kind of like super training or something. Super chat.
Oh, you know what? I never even thought of that. Never even
They're all
thought of
like
that, but
super
yeah.
chatter trainers.
I mean, that's what they call it, super chat. So I don't know.
I think that's when the super chat says, like when they say, "Oh, someone just gave to the super chat."
Yeah.
Yeah, like when they say, "I got $10," or yeah.
So Fly Swamper, I don't know where Katie is. I guess I could look it up. If you're
Down
ever
by
in the
Houston.
Dallas, okay. If you're ever in the Dallas area, let me know. I've got an LZ just right outside my house. And I'm in Terrell, if you know where that is, about an hour east of Dallas, half an hour, depending on the traffic. I'm down to Houston quite a bit. So, especially down Galveston area. So, yeah.
Cliff Fairmer says, want to jump on, but girlfriend just pulled in. I understand. Take care of the girlfriend. Why be here with us when you can be with the girlfriend? I understand. It's all good. Matter of fact, I probably need to wrap this up also because the wife is going to be going to bed soon. Wife, are you still up or are you going to bed? I think she's in bed. I don't hear her. So I probably need to be quiet too because she's got to work tomorrow. She got a really good job at the bank.
Oh, okay.
So she works at the bank and I fly paramotors. So who has the better job?
Ooh. Let's think about this.
I know. I fly paramotors, work
Gosh.
at a bank, no windows, crunching numbers. Oh, it's just so not me.
All I can say is God bless her. That's all I can say.
I know, right? So we probably need to wrap this up. But anyways, Kris, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I know that we could talk probably another
My phone's already going nuts. I told you. That's what they do.
Yeah, I know that we could probably talk for another couple hours. I mean, we just yappity yap and talk about paramotors. Matter of fact, I was on the phone with a couple different people. A new person that I haven't talked to on the phone got up with me, and we started talking. Chuck, I think I put him in the thing. He also runs the Soaring Sky. Oh shoot, what is it? What was Chuck's podcast? I was going to mention it on here and I forgot. I'm saying it wrong, I think. Let me scroll up real quick. Let's see. It's Flying High. Chuck, are you there? What was it? SoaringTheSky.com. He runs that podcast. It's about soaring the big fixed wing, non-powered, what do you call those?
Gliders. They're called gliders.
Thank you. Those big words. Yes, the gliders. So he's flying those gliders and he's been doing that for the last 3 years. And he has a podcast. We jumped on the phone. We just talked for hours and hours and we don't even fly the same thing, but we're, still fly, which is really awesome. So yeah, Soaring the Sky. Hey, there he is. Soaring the Sky. What's up, buddy? I'm glad you saw me. I saw this. Great chatting with you today. Yes, Soaring the Sky. Sorry, I had an old grandpa fart going on here, and I just couldn't remember. That's my bad. But yeah, Soaring the Sky. Glad you joined us, bud. Just in time for me to close this down.
Robert just messaged me. He just texted me, and he says he just got done flying.
And,
what? He said it was epic.
Oh, I bet. It's 9:30
so I
here.
Can't wait to see the video.
Where's he flying? He's flying in California, right?
Yeah. Yeah, on San Diego.
He flies out of Torrey Pines, I think.
Torrey, or he's at Torrey. Usually flies at Torrey Pine or Blossom.
That's why it's so hard to get people to watch these live podcasts because everyone's flying, and I understand. I mean, if it wasn't raining and tornadic right now, I'd probably be flying too. But hey, send it. The tornado will get you up there quick. No, all right, we tried.
Exactly. I just asked him where he flew, but I'm thinking he usually flies at Blossom. So.
Man,
because I said, "Come on, jump in the Zoom." A little bit earlier, and he just texted me. So I just landed, had an epic flight. That's my boy.
Awesome.
My boy.
Hey, so I'm wondering, guys, that's still here in the super chat and here at the panel. podcast during the summertime when there's plenty of time to fly and stuff like that. Do you guys still want us to do these podcasts, or do you want to just, no podcast during the summertime and pick it up, in the fall and stuff? What do you guys think? Let us know in the super chat. While you guys are thinking about that, let me go ahead and give it up to Jim real quick. I know that we quickly went through and just said hi to you, but how many flights have you got in today or so far up to date?
114.
Wow, 114. What's the average temperature up there right now in Canada?
Oh man, it was so warm here today. I don't know what it was in Fahrenheit, but it was like 17 degrees. So
17 degrees Celsius in Fahrenheit is what? Super chat, let us know. I don't know. Actually, Chris probably has a good brain and could just figure that one out.
It's in the 60s. It's in the
Wow.
60s, right? So Celsius, take double it and then add 32 and you'll be roughly there in the area, right? So
Dang,
mm.
you're a walking weather channel there. I couldn't even think that quick.
Chris is a cool cat.
Celsius of the, yes, I could just be putting that on Facebook. Well, I walked today and the weather was, yes, whatever you said. Yeah.
Chris is a cool cat. What was it? Bad Apples or Moonshiners that we hung out for a while? Was it Bad Apples?
I've seen you at both, actually. I don't remember. Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, Bad Apples. Yeah, you drove to Bad Apples.
right.
And you stayed with the Lears, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Bad Apples.
And then I came over and I was hanging out with you and Mark in the trailer for a little bit too. We talked about cool paramotor stuff and all the cool things that you were going to be doing in the future. And here it is. It's come to fruition. Everything
Well,
is rolling
let's
out.
do it again at Bad Apples this year too. I'm excited about Bad Apples this year.
I am too.
I wasn't excited last year because I was just like, it's another fly-in. But once you've experienced Bad Apples, you just got to go back. That is a really good fly-in.
It's a great field. I mean,
it's like a golf course field. Yeah.
It's like our sod farm. It's just cut grass as far as the eye can see and go anywhere you want to and fly anywhere. And then the granite or the open pit or the mine or whatever they call it over there.
Yeah, there's two of them up there. Yeah.
So beautiful. The waters were just beautiful, turquoise and different colors, and flying over them is just amazing. I love flying over those granite mines or whatever they call them. See, it's getting too late. I'm getting tired. My brain's not functioning like it should. It's not at peak performance. Getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning or 5 o'clock, that's where my peak performance is, not at 9:30 at night.
Boy, oh boy. I remember those days, getting up for work 3 o'clock in the morning.
Well, I tell
out the door by 5 o'clock.
It's just for my students are I'm available for my students 7 days a week from sun up to sundown, and that can be for flying, that can be coming over and just going over weather apps, going over airspace. It can be just upping our knowledge. It could be trivia. It can be, going over FAR 103. It's anything. So I am nonstop from sun up to sundown, 7 days a week, all about paramotors, and I absolutely love it. I cannot imagine
you're
doing
good at
anything else. Can't imagine doing anything
Good
else.
at it. All right. That's right.
I'm getting pretty darn good.
And we still managed to get it together on Mondays.
Well, that's because of you. You help me out,
Because of
and Jim helps me out, and
I
Will
check on
Fly
you guys
and the
on
Lears.
Yep.
I wouldn't
Say, hey,
couldn't do
don't
this without you
forget,
guys.
we have a show on Monday. No, just kidding.
Could not do it without you guys. I absolutely love doing this. I love everything. Hey, did you know we got some people that we are going to be interviewing over the next month. Do you have that list, or you want me to grab my list of the people that we're going to interview
our
this
guests
month?
for the month?
Yeah.
Oh, I got it on my calendar.
You got it right there? Okay. Because I got on my, I'm like her. I'm old school. I got to write down everything on paper. I'm not really a digital guy
You
yet.
want to know?
Guess I could. So who's next week?
we have, this is the guest that Jim invited. Jim, this guy is your instructor, right?
Yeah. Aaron.
Aaron how do you say his name? Aaron Hackle?
That's very well said.
All
That's
right.
how I would say it.
And you're, yeah, well, he trained you. You better say it. You better. Did you just say "yo, dude," or did you use his name? But you're going to be on next week too, right? So you guys can talk about how you all trained.
So goodness. Yeah.
Sure.
Okay. And then the following Monday we have Mark and Elena Honeycutt
Woo, we got
are
the
going to be
honey.
on board, and that's going to be a great show.
And that's right after Bad Apples, that Monday, right after Bad Apples.
And I believe Brooke is the one that invited them.
Yes.
And I have to
Pirate.
say, I got to say another note. I appreciate you guys. If you find a guest, you want to bring somebody on, just, holler at me or whatever and say, hey, I got this person or that person, and I'll put him down on my calendar and we go from there. So I appreciate your help. I really do. And if you got somebody you want to bring on, please let me know, and I can just kind of line them up so I know what's going on, so I don't book somebody the same day.
Right. Who's the person the following week?
Huh? What's that?
Who's the next person? Who's the person on the following week?
And then the 23rd, Chucky Wright.
We got Chucky Wright. I think a lot of people know Chucky.
Yeah.
Do you know that Chucky was on our show way back in the day too?
Early days.
Really the early days. Back when he had just a couple of hundred subscribers.
He was just starting out in the sport, I believe.
He has almost 65 or 70,000 subscribers already. He's really building up a big
I believe it. Yeah.
And then on the 30th, we are possibly going to be chatting with Soaring the Sky, and that'll be fun. So Soaring the Sky on the 30th, if he still wants to.
Okay. Make sure you give me the heads up, and I'll mark them down.
Awesome. So I guess Soaring the Sky is right here in the super chat. So I mean, if you want to make it an official thing, you can say yes, I will be there on the 30th.
Please.
I'm watching. Nope, he didn't say. He's like, nah, I don't want to do it.
Because I think, because that's the weekend of Torchport fly-in is the 27th to the 30th.
There's a lot of different fly-ins that are going on. The easiest one that I know to check is going to flyindirectory.com, and that goes to the PPG zone fly-ins. But Josh is actually I sent him another list that I saw on, what was it? Was that our chat that I saw that list on? Yeah. I sent him that so we can update the fly-ins over on PPG Zone. And if you guys don't know, go to ppgzone.com, and it's like a Facebook just for paramotor pilots. And you can also see on the interactive map all the different pilots that are around you. So, if you don't know anyone around you, just sign up for PPG Zone and look on the map, and you can see all the pilots around you that are on PPG Zone. So it's pretty cool.
I found something on Facebook too, where it was an invite for fly-ins in Michigan, all the Michigan fly-ins. So I joined that, and it actually showed all the fly-ins coming in. And next month, Holland, Michigan, which I went there last year in June when I was staying at my sister's house. I was able to go there and kind of hang out with everybody for the day at that fly-in in Holland. So Holland, Michigan.
Gotcha.
Not Holland, the country, Holland, Michigan. So and I got to meet up with Doug Martin, and it was fun.
Oh, I didn't know that you got to meet up with Doug Martin. That's cool.
Oh yeah. I finally got to meet him in person. I was just kind of on Facebook, and I saw something he was going to be there, and my sis lives like 10 minutes away from there or whatever. So, and it was funny because my sister and I were driving around, shopping, whatever. And I drive by the airport and I see the windsocks. And I was like a little kid. I'm like, oh my God, we got to stop. We got to stop right now. There's a flying going on here. We got to see what's going on. And sure enough, and then I messaged Doug and he goes, yeah, I'm going to be there or whatever. So I said, okay, I'll see you tomorrow.
Well, you need to make sure you run over to Bad Apples and hang with us. But anyways, I don't want to take up any more time for Kris. Kris, thank you so much for joining us. I know that you're probably weren't expected to be on here for so long, but I definitely appreciate you hanging out with us. All this information, you're going to be hanging out with us at Bad Apples, and I cannot wait to hang out with all my para peeps again. It's been way too long.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Sean, for having me. I definitely appreciate it. So. Yeah, I look forward to seeing you all at Bad Apples. Except for you, Linda, which you won't be there, but maybe I'll make it up to the fly-in up in your area sometime. So.
Oh, yeah, I hope so. And you're welcome, to hang with us on the show on Mondays. You feel like, don't have nothing else to do, just jump in the Zoom, You don't even have to ask. Just we send the link in the guest thing, and if you want to come on in.
Yep, I opened it up to everyone on our guest chat. I think we have about 100 people there or so, and we ended up with
getting bigger
with you guys. That's all I got today.
Yeah.
Everyone else says that they're busy, they got water leaks, or they're flying, or girlfriend came home, or whatever. I totally understand. It's like, why listen to us when you can do something more fun, like fixing a water leak or something?
Yeah.
But anyways, Kris, thank you so much again. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Tell us how we can get up with you, your Paraswag USA and all that fun stuff real quick.
So paraswagusa.com if you're looking for any of that stuff, but really you need to hit Mark George up for that stuff. I know nothing. Everything that I have anything to do with is My Dog is Choking. So my Twitter, my Instagram, Facebook, all of that is My Dog is Choking. I think actually Facebook, I think is Kris Wheeler, and it's Kris with a K. YouTube is My Dog is Choking. So yeah, if you ever need to hit me up, it's Kris, Kris at mydogischoking.com.
Awesome. And I did put all of your links down below. So if you want to just look down below in the description, and all of his links that he gave me is there, including episode 31, the first time that he was on the show, is down there too. So after this show, click that, listen to that. It's totally different. It's really neat going back a couple of years and listening to the first season, the first year of the podcast, a little bit different than what we're doing now.
Yeah, and don't forget, if you want to go to Colombia and want an epic flight with me, just let me know, and I'd be happy to introduce you to the pilots down there and just have a good time.
Awesome. I will. What are you doing tomorrow, Kris? Are you busy all day? Do you have anything going on? I'll give you a call tomorrow. We can chat for a little bit, unless you got a better day.
No, good. Hit me up in the afternoons. Mornings are kind of busy for me this week, but yeah, hit me up in the afternoon if you don't mind. Yeah,
definitely. Sounds good. And to get up with you, just go to your Facebook or your Instagram, or would be a good way of actually getting up with you for people that don't know your phone number.
Just email me at Kris at mydogischoking.com. Kris, Kris. So yeah.
Yep. Awesome. All right. Great talking with you. Thank you very, 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 very much. Appreciate you. You can always find me at iFlyParamotors or iFlyParamotors.com or ppggrandpa.com. Jim, he's up in Canada and he flies paramotors, so you can find him at careppg.com. But he also does a lot of printing, and he helps us with the paramotorcalendar.com, which you can see in the back there by his prop. He has a calendar there. Yep, there it is. And he's the one that prints them up. And we are going to be doing another thing soon where we are going to be getting, or you're going to be submitting all of your pictures, your paramotor pictures, or we'll be making another calendar to give away. Oh. And also, if you want to be on our show, all you have to do is get up with Linda Anderson from paramomusa.com. It forwards over to her Facebook page. Just PM her and say you want to be on the show. We also have a show tomorrow, not us, but the paramotor get-together hangout with Shane, PPG Shane, and also Eric Lear at Eric. TPGLear, lear.com. And that's tomorrow at 7 p.m., same as us. And then on Wednesday, Eric's wife, Jade, has her own Paramotor podcast. It's an all-female podcast at paramotorgirl.com. Girls just want to fly. She's even had an astronaut. So I keep on telling Linda, you got to book an astronaut. We can't have her outing us with an astronaut.
Oh, that's funny. I got to work on that one.
So paramotorgirl.com. And then on Thursday, we have another podcast, which is
paraglidingtalk.com with your host, Robert Michaels.
And Robert Michaels is
Thursday
who
night.
to you?
Every Thursday night. And oh yeah, yeah. He is my crazy free flying son. Yes.
So
Free flight. However, everybody.
So he's a famous guy, and we got the famous guy's mom on the show. So
yeah, I'm the famous guy's mom. Yeah. But you
couldn't do without you.
You can find me in the chat all week long because I hang out with everybody every night. I love it.
Awesome. So go to PORCHER to look at your wing fabric and how to take care of it. Yes, is that what it was?
Yeah, Portrait. Yep.
And
company out of France. Yeah.
Okay. And they are the ones that usually make all the wings. So get up with them.
No. They don't make wings. They just make fabric.
Just the fabric.
Every wing manufacturer buys their fabric from either Portrait or Domenico, or there's one place that I think is Da Vinci is the offset though. But generally, Portrait probably has a good 70 to 80% of the market in wing fabric right now.
Wow. So take care of it better than throwing in the washer and dryer like I've been doing?
I would say if you throw it in the dryer and you end up with a wing, I'll be surprised.
No, I don't, guys. I don't. I never dropped it in any water. I've never caught fish with it either. But anyways, y'all have a great evening. Chris, again, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Jim, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Linda, love all you guys. You guys are wonderful, and we'll see you at Bad Apple soon.
Thank you, chatters.
99.
Thanks again, Chris. Appreciate you, buddy.
All right, thank you.
Bye, guys.
Nighty night. So we stopped that recording. So that's our audio, but we're still streaming live. So is there anything you want to say before we're done streaming? Is there anything you want to say? Linda, is there anything you want to say?
The show was fun tonight.
I really enjoyed it. I had a good time. Chris is awesome. And I really can't wait to go over to Colombia and check that out. That sounds really freaking amazing.
Actually, I would have liked to ask Chris when my socks are going to be taken on the picture.
Oh, you send him socks?
You betcha.
Oh, cool.
Everybody needs a something like that. I don't know what my thing is. I just fly paramotors. I guess I have a podcast.
There you go. Sent you stickers.
Oh yeah, you got stickers?
Oh, well, I sent you some.
When?
I have to make some yet.
Oh, okay. Did you have any in the mail like anytime soon so I can bring in a bad? Oh man. That's right. I guess I'm gonna have to make up. I'm gonna have to design something on the 3D printers and make ClearProp TV somethings.
That's what, a week away.
Yeah, I got three printers that can roll, but I just don't know what I want to do. Hey,
I guess I could do some stickers out by that time.
Live.
I know we're still live. We're just finishing this up live, you know.
Oh, I got
you. If you guys want to listen to us, you can, but the podcast over. Go home. Go to sleep. The podcast over. This is just us chatting for a second.
Okay.
But we're going to keep it streaming just so you can see what we talk about at the end.
Yeah, you're right.
But so you printed up some more, or you're going to print up some more and send me a bill?
I was thinking I'd probably fire up the machine on Wednesday. So we'll see.
Okay. Yeah. Whatever you do, just send me a bill. And anybody that's rich and wants to send me some money in the super chat, go ahead and do that. Or you can PayPal me if you want to at SeanSymons@yahoo.com. But I had a really good time, and I appreciate all you guys for hanging out and doing this, and actually being on the panel. I don't mind being the host and then talking to a guest, but it really is nice to have other people that can bounce things around and stuff like that. I really appreciate you guys. Linda, I couldn't do this without you, so thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We forgot to do a thumbnail.
I can take your thumbnail.
That's right. I can always go back on the feed and just take a screenshot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It's no
Yeah.
big deal. We missed Will. Will's always helped us
Yeah.
out.
I know. I was super
And-
sad tonight.
Eric and Jade, they were out flying, so I understand. Go fly. Why jump on a podcast and go fly?
I think
don't
they
know.
were actually driving, and that's why they didn't jump in.
I think they were doing tandems or something. They landed. Now they're driving back. I don't know, but
Yeah.
they're busier than I am. That's for sure. So I'm going to cut the live stream. Thank you guys for listening in this last little bit of yappity yap yap, and we'll see you at Bad Apples. No, actually, no, we'll see you next week and then Bad Apples. And then don't forget, we also got some things that we're going to be giving away. So we will talk about that next week.